Storms again ramping it up here across the west. Those are going to lift their way to the northeast, and we got to deal with those into central Kentucky in a couple of hours behind the main line. And then you get another big line of severe thunderstorms that will pop to the northwest of us later this evening, and that's going to drop in with a damaging wind threat as well. But the lightning on this is truly amazing. And Jim Caldwell joining me now. Jim, we look at this radar and into central Kentucky. Just in the past couple of frames, you can really see the lightning beginning to increase as we add more counties with that severe thunderstorm warning going all the way up now into southern parts of Indiana.
Oh, it is getting a lot more intense out there, and that's what we expect. Got some reports, Chris, out of Grayson County, where homes have been, and a garage has been just leveled, the camper tossed around, and that was a concern because the camper's not, tied to the ground or anything. It's not anchored, so you run into that. So that's already happened. These are just some of the first reports coming out from there right now. But as he said, we are ramping up the presence of strong and severe thunderstorms here on the leading edge of this line. And again, as he mentioned, this is wave number one. We've been talking for the past week or so about a couple of different waves, and that's where we are right now, tracking a couple of different waves that will likely blast across Kentucky. But right now in Frankfort, that wind has started to pick up, and those thunderstorms, you can probably hear them off in the distance because they're just now passing through Shelbyville, and they're right on track to head deeper and deeper into central portions of Kentucky. It's already there in Boyle County, Anderson County, into Mercer County. Here it comes, Chris.
Yeah, and you get winds inside this line that are generally, I think, fairly widespread, Jim, 50 to 60 miles an hour, but you're going to have some pockets in there of hurricane force winds that may be up there 75 miles per hour. So we have now blanketed just about the entire bluegrass region with a severe thunderstorm warning. But I'm really watching this storm that is right on top of 150 coming out of Washington County into Boyle County in the southwestern part of Mercer County. That's the strongest storm on the radar. You can clearly see that because the lightning is showing up on that tremendously. Jim, let's slow this down. Let's put this in now mode and let's see what we've got, if we've got any kind of a kink showing up within this line at all. What Jim's going to do is going to essentially give this line an MRI. We can look within this line of thunderstorms to pick out damaging winds or a bit of a spin, and whoo, boy, that is some big time wind, Jim, coming up the Bluegrass Parkway right now. This is Anderson County. This is Nelson County. Here's Spencer County. Here's Shelby County, Frankfort. This pocket right here, that is some fierce winds that is lifting its way into Anderson County. So that is wind damage, and that is likely taking aim at Frankfort, at Lawrenceburg, into northern parts of Mercer County, eventually getting into Woodford County as well. And we'll see how that holds up across central Kentucky. And then we extend that a little farther to the south into western parts of Boyle County, where now you start to see, Jim, just a hint of a little bit of change of wind in terms of direction showing up. The leading edge is trying to pull in some of that wind from the southeast, while behind it we've got the winds that are trying their best maybe to just spin broadly into the western part of Boyle County near Perryville. That's where this is, and that's what we're dealing with.
I've got radar estimates right now, Chris, embedded within that, especially outside of Lawrenceburg, of up to, again, this is, according to the data, up to near 80 miles per hour, like a little pocket right there.
And that is right here. And we also, sometimes you got to watch to see if we can see one of those little kinks. So now this updated, Jim, so we've got those damaging winds that it may be upwards of 80 miles per hour right on top of Anderson County into southern parts, southeastern parts of Shelby County. So if you're watching us anywhere on the BG, if you're looking at us, you're watching us into Midway, into Versailles, into Lawrenceburg, into Frankfort, listen, this is lifting to the east, northeast very quickly, and that may have winds, hurricane force winds that are making their way into central Kentucky. So again, we're not looking at the traditional radar with this. What we're doing is giving the radar an MRI, the storms an MRI. We're looking inside at the winds, and when we start to see winds like this that are showing up, these really bright colors, that's when you know you have the potential for some wind damage, and that is blasting its way through. And Jim, you just look at this, you can almost see that backward C a little bit as well. So the apex of that bow is right on top of the Bluegrass Parkway. And Jim, when you start to see the apex of that, it's like when you're pulling a bow and arrow back, you're putting that maximum kind of torque, if you will, right at in the center of that bow. That's where the arrow is going to go. Well, the arrow in this case is aimed right at Lawrenceburg with wind damage that may be up there from storms with 70 to 80 miles per hour. Not too common, Jim. I say it's not too common, but it has become common over the past year and change around here to see damaging wind producing storms like this.
I mean, just, 2 months ago. Well,
yeah,
2
April
months ago,
2nd.
or a month ago now. We had 100 miles per hour go through here, in downtown Lexington alone, and the Chevy Chase area really rattled with some of those strong wind gusts as well. But that's what we had, and there's a full update of the sweep, and it is still. I mean, let me tell you what. If you're in Lawrenceburg right now, I mean, I hate to use this term, batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
This is a very tough wind that could reach 70 to 80, as he mentioned, Category 1 hurricane status force winds. That's what this is. And that kind of gust is about to plow right through there right now.
Yeah, and Jim, what we can do here is let's focus on the rest of this line. Let's kind of take this. I know you may have to take it off for a moment, but let's take this, and we're going to take this line farther to the south, and then we're going to zoom in here. I want to see what's going on here in the western parts of Boyle County. Then we're going to go down toward Lake Cumberland to see how these winds are firing up. But boy, that pocket of tremendous wind is showing up Spencer County into northern parts of Mercer County and Anderson County. Those are some of the stronger wind returns you are ever going to see. Across the Lake Cumberland region, damaging winds are likely here. Now, this is kind of in what we call, Jim, radar no man's land, where you've got a whole bunch of radars that kind of overshoot some of the storms that are in this particular part of the country because they're so far away. But again, watching those damaging winds that are right on top of Lake Cumberland. Busy lake, busy weekend for that lake. Memorial Day weekend, a lot of folks are out on the water on a day like this. Hopefully they were heeding our calls for concern. We had a first alert weather day declared for today 6 days ago to give everybody a heads up for this holiday weekend. So Jim, right here could be some wind damage that is essentially rolling its way right on top of Lake Cumberland.
Right now, some of the gusts estimated down there, just looking at radar data, it's somewhere between about 35 and 40 on the strongest side of this, Chris. So you're getting right up there. And if you're on the water, that kind of wind is fierce. I mean, fierce. So you have to be very, very careful. If you're watching this and you've got the cell phone out, listen, that can be a really tricky situation.
Yeah, and we're going to watch this particular part of the line as well here into western parts of Boyle County, because you're starting to see some of those big-time winds that are extending into now the gravel switch area. Perryville would be back here into the western part of Boyle County. Here's Harrodsburg. And what we have to be on guard for, Jim, sometimes you get these little kinks where you can get a quick tornado spin up. Those are really kind of hard to decipher on radar because they are hit and run. Not like the traditional tornadoes that you see out across the plains or what we've seen around here from time to time, but these would be the quick spin ups that can sometimes accompany lines like what we're dealing with. And we'll watch this western part of Boyle County and maybe into the northern part of Mercer County, as well as all of this heads to the east. With even, you don't have to have a tornado to have extensive damage.
No, again, you've got those kinds of fierce winds that are out there. But I'm like you, the more I look at that little notch that's trying to develop there, again, it's trying to show you right now that it's wrapping, folks. It's trying to show that one area is a little faster than the other, one's getting caught back a little bit, and that can cause just a natural spin to develop. So again, in Boyle County, we're going to watch that very closely for further developments. No warning, no tornado warning in effect for
We're
that
up
area.
now, Jim. We've jumped to 157,000 customers without power.
All in Western
Kentucky.
Kentucky, right?
All in Western Kentucky, but now that is creeping into Central Kentucky. I'm looking at Bullitt County with extensive outages, and that's with that line that is now getting into Central Kentucky.
And we continue to watch this line get closer and closer to us here in Lexington.
Yeah,
Chris.
you know, I'm looking at our tower cam just to see, because at some point here soon, things are going to get a little crazy. We got our Keeneland cam as well. So we're going to be able to track these storms as they make their way right on into central Kentucky. So that is something for us to really keep a close eye on.
And they are continuing to barrel right toward us right now with those fierce winds. Sometimes that first shot of wind can be
brutal,
exhausting.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the big blob of wind that we continue to watch coming out of Anderson County, lifting to the northeast. So Frankfort, the line of thunderstorms is right on top of us. Chances are those winds are just cranking here in the capital city. Versailles, it's a matter of a few minutes before we get the worst of the winds in there. Salvisa here into Mercer County, Harrodsburg, that whole 127 corridor is just under the gun right now for some serious wind damage as it makes its way through. So if you're watching us now, Georgetown into Lexington, Nicholasville, into Lancaster, over into Richmond, Berea, and then points to the north from all of this into Georgetown, eventually into Paris, Cynthiana. Yeah, this is going to be heading in your direction. Lexington, this will be on top of us on the west side of town in about 15 minutes. So this isn't wasting any time at all as it makes its way quickly to the east and northeast. So let's again, Jim, look inside this line to see the winds that we are dealing with as this powerhouse of a storm makes its way through. And again, there's that big gust of wind, and it is bowing its way out. This is new sweep goes by updates. So you see how this is across most of Anderson County. And Jim, that high wind is about to blast downtown Versailles, Midway, and into Frankfort as well, and down to Salvisa.
So what's already happened there in the far western parts of Woodford County is the gusts have gone from nothing to about 30 miles per hour in a hurry. And that's just the beginning. So you're probably already starting to notice that if you are in downtown Versailles, and that will be plowing forward as we move deeper into this this noon hour and even toward 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and here's our Keeneland cam, folks. We got a live cam out here at Keeneland. Obviously, no racing going on. We get that April and October, but this is giving us a bird's eye view of this severe thunderstorm. We're looking to the west. So we're looking almost due west with this particular shot here. So we're going to have a great view as that line of severe thunderstorms makes its way out of the Versailles area and into western parts of Fayette County. This is out right across from Bluegrass Airport on Versailles Road. So we will see that camera likely rocking and rolling coming up here in about 15 minutes or so.
And it'll look like a shelf coming at you.
Right.
That's what's going to come. That's, you know, we've seen a lot of pictures of those.
Called a shelf cloud. That's right.
That's right. Called a shelf cloud, and will be plowing right toward us here very shortly. That's the first sign, the first indicator that things are changing out there. Now I'm going to go to the tower cam, and this tower cam should be able to get a great view of it because we're looking due west right now, and that's where everything is happening out in those western skies. So that will continue to head toward us and give us that potential for those damaging winds that will likely be rolling forward here. Another update on the warning situation. We have two different segments of warnings. We've got one that covers central Kentucky.
And that probably should be connected by now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, that needs to get connected.
And then there's the one to the south that does include a large chunk of our area. You're talking about the most populated part of our area right now, Chris.
And Jim, on my my Kentucky Weather Twitter/X feed, just got a picture of a semi completely blown over there in East Louisville. So that's part and parcel of what we're dealing with.
That's exactly what's happening out there. So that rolled through. That's the same line that we are now facing right here, right now, in central Kentucky as well. Let me show you the First Alert Radar Network, and you can see how it's advancing in here. And the thing about this one too, Chris, it's got a lot of forward speed.
It does. It's trucking.
And when you get that forward speed, this is when you can get those kinks that you were talking about, because you get little certain areas that go maybe a little faster than the one just north of it, and that causes that kink to develop. And
that's all it takes.
And that spin can start to come into play. So while, you know, tornadoes are bad, we know that. That's a given. These winds right here are bad enough, because you're still looking at, if we can get 70 to 80 miles per hour, it's a base for a hurricane.
Let's go in on Anderson County, and we'll look at one of those kinks that may be trying to form just to on the Anderson and Woodford County line, I believe, Jim. So Jim's going to take this line in, or we're going to take this radar in. We're going to essentially stop the animation part of it. We'll go about right in here between Versailles and Lawrenceburg, and then we're going to look at this storm. And just to see those winds inside, we know this was the part of the line, Jim, that was giving us upwards of 80 miles per hour with some of those winds. There's almost a little bit of a kink that is here into areas south of 62, southeast of Lawrenceburg. This is Anderson County. This is Woodford County. And yeah, there it is. It's a little more pronounced on that sweep that just went through there. These are the tornado signatures that are really sometimes hard to decipher, because they are quick hitting and usually on the leading edge of some of these lines. So this is, when you see one of these, Jim, we've seen this line produce these across western Kentucky for the better part of the past few hours. When you see that, sometimes Weather Service will just have enough just to go ahead and pop a quick tornado warning to be safe, because those tornadoes, those are the ones that really can just spawn very quickly, and then they're gone just as fast. And that's the concern when you see something like this.
Already getting a report out of Anderson County in Lawrenceburg, Chris, that a structure fire has started there.
Okay.
And it was because lightning.
Okay. Yeah.
It was caused
Tremendous
by a lightning
lightning.
strike. So that's coming out of that area already, the Bluebird Court area in Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, but now this is into Versailles, into Woodford County now, and this is going to blast its way very quickly into Jessamine and Fayette counties. We know we're getting the hard-hit part of the storm into Frankfort, Versailles, Lawrenceburg, Salvisa, Harrodsburg. That's happening right now. But here in just a matter of a few minutes, if you're watching us from down at Keene, into Jessamine County, Nicholasville, into Versailles Road, here into Lexington, toward Harrodsburg Road, yeah, this is just a few minutes from being on top of you. So Versailles, Nicholasville Road, Harrodsburg Road, zipping its way through. And that little kink, Jim, even though the radar we just updated, and that is still showing up right there. It's not the strongest in the world, but you know what? It doesn't have to be when you're on the leading edge of winds like what we're dealing with.
I'm just going back and looking at just the wind speeds out at the airport from the anemometer out there, and just from 12:10, we've gone from 9 miles per hour sustained wind up to 14 miles per hour sustained wind, and it's just now, that last report came out at 12:35, so you can see that the wind is picking up on that side of town, and it's all an extension of this main area that's driving some of those potential hurricane force winds there into our area. So that is certainly happening out there, and it's been a steady increase out there too. And,
and you know, and part of what we do when we have to step away like this and just leave the radar up is we got to look and see what reports that are coming in, because that gives us Jim, a really good idea of what we're about to see as this storm makes its way into central Kentucky.
There's just so much information out there and available now. So and
it's in real time.
And it's in real time. That, it's changed so much since both of us started doing weather years ago. So
a couple.
Yeah. So you get more information quicker, and that means we can have better information for you.
Yep, that's what it's all about. And seeing that line that goes with damaging winds all the way through Harrodsburg into Danville, so Lancaster, Bryantsville, Wilmore, Nicholasville, Lexington, this is rolling its way right on top of us as we speak. And that little bit of an extra bow is showing up now right on top of Versailles. So Jim, our Keeneland cam, hang on, is now showing.
There it is.
There's the shelf cloud that is rolling on in.
There it is.
So that is a photogenic shelf cloud, and this vantage point is really going to show up quite nicely as this thing makes its way through. So essentially what happens is that when this shelf cloud looks like a big wave kind of coming in, right? But it's also like a shelf. It's called a shelf cloud. When this gets over top of you, and as it passes over where you are, all of a sudden the winds go crazy. You can get 50, 60 plus mile an hour winds, and the blinding rain settle in as well. So just as we're on air, you can literally see this cloud moving over the west side of Lexington, and that is working its way out of Woodford County. So Versailles, we've been sounding the alarm for you folks. Now we're sounding it for Fayette County into Lexington, as damaging winds are likely to roll on through with that photogenic shelf cloud indicative of a damaging wind signature.
All right, now again, this is the same storm that blasted through Anderson County. Chris, now getting a report out of there that a tree fell on a vehicle on Woodford Street in Lawrenceburg. And EMS out there checking on patients right now. So again,
same storm, yeah.
It's the same storm that's moving here that we radar estimated wind 70 to 80 miles per hour is still plowing through, and that's it right there. That's that cloud structure you're seeing coming our way. It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, and we have what are known as the Kentucky Mesonet sites, Jim, across the area. They're official recording stations, 100 plus across our region. We got just about one in each county into central Kentucky. And you often will look at those and say, well, the winds were only, or the winds were this or that. Then you got to take a step back and think, okay, wait a minute. I am looking at a measurement from a anemometer, all right, in an area that is no wider than me. What are the odds that the strongest winds hit that one small little pin dot on the earth? Very, very minute chance that the strongest winds hit that. And often, a lot of folks in the weather world, Jim, get kind of roped into believing, oh, that's only what it was because it didn't hit, the strongest winds didn't hit this pin dot on a map.
Right, right. And there's a much bigger area out there. You're talking thousands of square miles that could likely be impacted from one point to the other.
Yeah, so that Keeneland cam, Jim, we're going to watch the real-time observations from Bluegrass Airport.
Yeah, I've got them pulled up too. Yeah.
Because that's right across the street from our Keeneland cam. There you go with the warnings that are out. Tornado watch is out for a large chunk of real estate in that first alert radar network. My goodness, this thing is lighting up with the severe storms that are moving into central Kentucky as we speak, with wind damage that is likely, that is blowing into the west side of town right now. It is crossing out of Versailles, out of Woodford County. This is essentially traveling to the east on 60 or Versailles Road, and that is going to blast central Kentucky here, or the Lexington metro of central Kentucky. It's already hitting the metro. It's going to blast Lexington coming up here in just a matter of seconds. And there's that Keeneland cam again, because Jim, we want to see we want to show folks what this is like when that shelf cloud passes over top of you.
We do, and just in case, I'm talking to Russ upstairs running this whole operation for us. Wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and get the generator going.
Yep, good idea, very good idea.
At this point, because those winds, they haven't made it to this side of town yet, but they're on their way. So, Russ, I know you can hear me. Let's get that thing rolling so we can stay on and keep everybody prepared. It'll kick on by itself, but sometimes it's best to get it going before it arrives.
that way you guys will never lose us, hopefully.
Yeah, there's no interruption that way. But that is already making its way across that side of town. And what I'm looking for too, Chris, is right as that passes, that's usually when you start to see some of the trees swaying and all of that. So I'm watching that off in the distance here from that Keeneland camp. So that is what's marching across Fayette County.
Yeah, and my Twitter feed now lighting up, Jim, with the shelf cloud views.
And there's the rain too.
Yeah,
see it?
Yeah.
Off in the distance.
So here you go. So this cloud is now just about out of camera view because it's coming over top of the camera, which is out at the grandstand here at Keeneland. But here, as Jim was pointing out, you can see the wall of water that is coming at us with the heavy rain. So watch the visibility just decrease here. You know, it almost looks like, Jim, there's a little lowering of that base of that cloud. It could be the rain, but here you go with the rain coming in very quickly. So the evolution of a squall line of thunderstorms and a damaging wind setup is being played out live on our Keeneland weather cam. So the visibility is going down. You see the sheets of rain that are coming across the track here. And you can actually, Jim, look at this. You see the wind that is whipping part of the track around.
There it is. And I've been watching those three trees behind you, right there behind you. They continue to sway. They weren't there for a little while, but now right there in that far right corner of your screen, they're swaying now.
Yeah, and we will know if we lose power out at on the west side of Lexington because this camera will go dark. very quickly. But yeah, you see the sheets of rain that are coming in. Goodness gracious, that is what the rest of Lexington is getting ready to see. So damaging winds up to 50 and 60 plus miles per hour, likely with the possibility of some embedded hurricane force wind gusts that are blowing their way on through. So we watch this. This is on the west side of Lexington, near Bluegrass Airport, literally right across the street from Bluegrass Airport at Keeneland, which most of us around here, we know about Keeneland. And you see those sheets of rain that are rolling on in. So this is a cool evolution, Jim. That is playing out in real time, not just on the radar, but you're seeing this storm as it makes its way into Lexington right now.
Oh, and it is blowing. I mean, just watch those big sheets as he was talking about. Just race across the track. No pun intended. I mean, but that's what they're doing. As that is what's coming for the rest of us here in Fayette County. I'll jump back to the radar so you can see the overall look of what is happening in town. And there it is. And they made a connection, by the way, on the severe thunderstorm warnings. And they just extended some deeper into eastern Kentucky. We're talking 3 counties away they're doing this. So that's good.
You know, and Jim, I just got a picture on my Twitter feed of what that lowering of the cloud that I was looking at here. Check this out. It did almost look like a lowering wall cloud. And that's a view out at the airport.
I need to try to get that on.
Yeah, if we got a producer up there, director, if we can get some of these pictures on from my Twitter feed. I just tweeted out one of that possible wall cloud literally out at the airport. No idea, because it was a picture, if this thing was rotating or not, Jim.
There it is.
But this is what we are looking at as it makes its way right on top of Bluegrass Airport. You see one of the planes there. When you see that lowering of the cloud, now if that starts rotating, that's when you got to sound the alarm with a tornado warning. But that was what I was noticing on the Keeneland cam, and I said, man, it looks like there's almost a little bit of lowering on the left side of the screen, and that's it.
And there it is.
There it is.
That's what we were watching just a minute ago live in real time when we were out there with that Keeneland cam.
And that's how you can get a quick spin up of a tornado out of these lines. We are blanketing the entire region right now. We can come back to our radar with severe thunderstorm warnings. And Jim, let's just kind of reset everything real quickly to show folks what is going on. We can come back to the radar, guys. Let me show you the warnings that are out. Jim said they just connected this. Look at this. Continuous warnings now from southern Indiana through the Lexington Metro, down Interstate 75 on either side of 75, all the way now to roughly Jellicoe, Tennessee. I mean, that's expansive. That's a widespread damaging wind event. And Jim, the lightning on this entire line is increasing, which again says we're going to see wind damage all the way through eastern Kentucky. If you're in eastern Kentucky now, this is coming in your direction. Those warnings go as far east now as Knox County and Bell County, as far east as Clark County. You know what? This is a weather service in Jackson. Let's go ahead and just give those folks a heads up. It's not going to be 30 minutes before those storms are in these western counties. So let's go into central Kentucky, the Bluegrass region. Jim, let's look at the winds inside this again, as I hear some lightning striking near our tower, because we'll occasionally hear that in our ears, our IFB. But leading edge of this damaging wind is on the west side of Lexington. Big pocket of winds that may be up there 50 to 60 plus miles an hour is blowing into Georgetown, into Lexington, into Nicholasville, and eventually getting down into Richmond and Berea, and that's going to make its way to the east over the course of the next little bit.
And so far, the forward motion of these has been roughly 60 to 70 miles per hour. Just the motion, not the actual storm itself. That's what's been happening. They've been moving like that. Look, you can see that rain shield coming right there too, can't you?
Downtown Lexington, you're about to see the mothership arrive right over top of you. I understand we may have video of our wall cloud out at Bluegrass Airport just a little bit ago. If we can take that video, there you go. And that's what we're dealing with. So, yeah, Jim, definite wall cloud. Question is, are we seeing any rotation, which obviously from our vantage point is a little harder to do as we both find the nearest TV monitor and squint.
I can't.
You can't make it out if there's anything that that would be rotating. But folks, that's a wall cloud, without question, into the west side of Lexington right now. And that may be, if that is still holding together, Jim, that is likely coming into downtown Lexington.
Oh, should be very soon.
Yeah, and those are the wall clouds. Typically, you get that lowering, and then if you get rotation and spin, those are the ones to worry about potentially spitting out a tornado.
And we can see the whole shelf coming at us from the big tower cam.
From the tower cam.
I'm going to switch over to it really quick, and then I'm going to adjust that downtown cam. But there it comes right there for you.
And I'm wondering if this right here, Jim, is still that little bit of a wall cloud we're seeing.
Let's go in.
Kind of hard to see because we're on the very east side of Lexington. We're near Hamburg Pavilion, but I'm wondering if that little bit of a lowering is still right here, because that is definitely lower than the rest of the shelf cloud. So if we are again to see a little bit of spin, that it may come from that part of our storm. Not saying that's happening right now. Radar really isn't picking up on a whole lot, but you can almost see a little inflow coming into that too. But this would be that lowering of our cloud, Jim, right there, that we were likely just looking at that video from on our social media, right?
Right, that up close and personal shot, because that takes you right out there to that general direction. Yeah, it absolutely does. But
and we can switch to our downtown cam and flip it around to see exactly what they're saying. I'll keep the tower cam up here, and I'll do the radar. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So okay, let's get everybody involved here to show you what's going on. All the warnings that are out there. You see all the counties in yellow, a continuous line right now. Let's see just how much of a line this goes. Essentially, that is a little more than 200-mile consecutive line of severe thunderstorms right on top of central Kentucky. Damaging winds are rolling through here as we speak, and that is right on top of the Lexington Metro.
Yeah, there it is. Literally blowing in.
So we are dealing with the worst of the weather coming in, and check out downtown Lexington. So that is right on top of us. So our vantage point, now we're looking to the east. This is where the storm is going from downtown. Obviously, it's coming in from the west, but you can see the sheets of rain that are blowing across downtown, where we're likely getting those winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. So the rain on the camera lens here, our case that it's in, you can see how that is there's nothing going north-south on that. That stuff is going from west to east as this severe thunderstorm races its way on top of Lexington right now. And Jim, likely to get some power outages and wind damage coming from this as it now makes its way across downtown Lexington. And that'll be coming here at the station very shortly on the east side. A little bit ago, 12:54, we had a 41-mile-an-hour gust out at the airport. Now, that was 8 minutes ago, so chances are we've exceeded that.
I've never seen it streak like this.
Yeah.
Across the look at that. Look how it's just running across it. I've never seen that during an event like this. But that just shows you how strong those winds are. They're definitely cranking out there for sure.
Pretty incredible to see that.
As it's going right through downtown. And
a lot of trees down on roadways in Woodford County. So we've got that going for us now. Taylor County seeing all kinds of trees down, winds that have not caused some damage there. So yeah, pictures are now flooding in.
They're flooding in from emergency management all over the place.
Yeah, they are.
I'm seeing them now. I mean,
and into central Kentucky, I'm going through my Twitter feed and just looking at stuff that folks are seeing. Got some hail in Beaumont right now, in Lexington. And the shelf cloud, Jim, very photogenic. That much we know, and that's what we're getting lots of pictures of right now.
Yeah, because it's so intimidating when you see it come, and for good reason. Sometimes they're packing quite a punch. Right as soon as they blow over your head, that's when things start to get interesting right behind it, and that's what's happening out there. But there's downtown Lexington. That's what we've got pulled up here for you. And the wind continuing to run straight across the screen, not straight up and down, straight across, because of the wind that is forcing those raindrops to do that. I'll go back to First Alert Radar Network for you here, and you can see that line continues to whip across Kentucky, crossing I-75 here, already doing it in parts of Fayette County and in Scott County. The rest of 75, it's on top of you here within the next 15, 25 minutes or so. That's what's happening with that. So again, the reports are coming in confirming that this thing has been a wild one.
How's our tower cam looking? Because I bet that thing is about to rock and roll right now. Because that is 300 feet above our heads. And so the winds are going to be, is cool. All right, let's take this back just a little bit and let's show folks what a shelf cloud looks like and just how intimidating it is. So Jim, we'll take this back to the north just a little bit, looking more into northern parts of Fayette County to show what a line that we're dealing with as it makes its way across the area. And that still may be that little bit of an appendage that we're seeing in terms of a wall cloud trying, not rotating right now. We haven't seen that. But look at this. I call this the mothership from time to time. So here we are, the leading edge of it. Jim, let's pan and let's go through downtown Lexington and then into the south side of Lexington. That's still that appendage. But look at that impressive line. And as that comes over top of you, that's when things can get a little crazy. That's when the winds can reach potentially up to hurricane force. You get a ton of rain and the wind damage. So the leading edge of this is now essentially sweeping across Lexington and is making its way to the east side of town. This is right on top of downtown, and it is, Jim, it's rolling on 60. It's heading right at us, and this is going to make for another great view for us to check out in terms of what we're dealing with that shelf cloud making its way right on top of us. And we'll see things go downhill quickly, and it'll look even worse on this cam because it's 300 feet higher. When the winds are stronger, the higher up you go.
I suspect that we won't see anything once that really gets going. It's going to be like one of those foggy mornings, you know. You won't see much of anything other than raindrops possibly, you know, splattering on the casing around.
Good point. 164,000 now without power. Franklin County, we're almost 1,000 without. These are customers, not just people. These are customers. So the number of people without power way, way higher. About 2,000 into Anderson County so far. And those outages, Jim, are coming now into Woodford County, and I suspect we're going to see those here into Fayette County very, very shortly.
You know what? They're probably seeing them on the west end of town already. We just
our camera's still going, so
well, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Now,
yeah.
Keeneland, we may have our own little power source out there.
There could be, yeah.
You know, so which is a good thing. Kudos to Keeneland for allowing us to put that cam out there. But here's the rest of the story for the rest of Lexington as this continues to make its way through. We just kicked over to generator.
We sure did.
Yeah, we heard that. So this is rolling its way through with damaging winds and the visibility. I mean, you want to see a wall of water coming at you from the skies. This is what it looks like. So right here is Winchester Road. This would be the interstate. This would be interstate going right over top of Winchester Road. And all of that is just coming at us very quickly, and it's going to cause likely a little bit of damage, Jim, as it does so.
Oh, without question. That's exactly what's going to happen out there. As you're doing that, I'm looking at some of the reports, too, that are coming in, some of the same ones you were talking about here, of the wind moving in, and, of course, the mothership, the shelf cloud coming into play out there, too.
Yeah, we're looking, that's midway, Jim, where that storm just plowed through a little bit ago. So, yeah, this is every bit as intense as what we have talked about for several days now. And again, the worst of this is right on top of the station here on Winchester Road. And this is about to plow right on top of WKYT. Jim, it looks like our tower cam may have just rebooted when the
power kicked.
When the power just kicked.
Oh,
so,
that's true.
Well, there goes our shelf cloud watching. All right, back for additional warnings that are out. So, my goodness, all the real estate in yellow. It has been a while since we've had a line of thunderstorms intense like this. This is continuing to make its way on through. And Western Kentucky, more rounds of severe thunderstorms, following that up and lifting to the northeast. So we've got crews across the area. Meteorologist Alexa Minton joins us now from downtown Lexington, where this storm just really blew through the downtown area. Alexa, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I just drove through the downtown Lexington area, and it was kind of like almost immediate. Like you guys were saying, it's the wall of rain pushing into parts of your area. We just got past downtown Lexington. We're over by the Catholic Action Center, headed towards Versailles, and our visibility, if y'all can see, it's not far. We've got pooling water on roadways, definitely a lot of tree branches blowing across parts of the area. And like you all indicated, it was almost immediate. Once we were driving, we were calm. We saw that shelf cloud. Nothing was happening. And as soon as we crossed into the downtown area, things got pretty bad. Now we're on the back half kind of this area right now, still in the strong part, and things are calming a little bit, but that front line of the storm, front edge of the storm, is pretty intense. So definitely make sure you're get off the roadways, stay inside, and of course stay with KYT. I know Chris and Jim are doing a good job of keeping everyone alert. But for now, I'm headed towards Versailles, but we're going to turn around and follow the storm line. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton.
All right, stay safe out there, Alexa. And obviously, we'll be getting back to you as we go through the next little bit. But there's your First Alert radar network as of now.
Camera's online again.
Oh, the camera's back?
I think, yeah.
And there you go with all the warnings. Jim, look at that. We go from Cincinnati, southern Indiana, all the way down to Jellicoe, Tennessee, continuously with those warnings. Here's the tower cam. You could probably hear the rain now coming through our mics on the roof. But yeah, the sheets of rain that are hitting us, visibility way down, that big gust of wind howling its way across the Lexington area, likely 50, 60 plus miles an hour. So we're taking this. Now we're looking Winchester Road, bottom of your screen right here. Hamburg Pavilion, somewhere out there. And yeah, in the distance, that would be Hamburg, and not too far away from us. So visibility here, way under a quarter of a mile.
I'm going to run this.
Heavy rains.
I'm going to run this to an odd place. I'm going to show you the whole top of the tower because I want to see if we can see any hints of daylight left.
Now we're looking through the tower.
Yeah.
Looking toward the eastern sky.
Yeah. So it's covered. It's made its way.
So the heavy rain is now all the way through where we are. So that is what we're dealing with, kids. Winchester Road right there at the bottom of your screen. Blinding rains. Jim, the other thing we got to be on guard for, we haven't talked a whole lot about, the threat for flooding with repeat thunderstorms. You know, we picked up a lot of rain this year.
You know, and especially, you know, in southern Kentucky, just the past few days, they picked up a ton.
Oh, yeah, some 5-inch amounts.
Yes, and you throw in one of these quick hitters that can put down a few inches in about an hour or so, and you've got some trouble because these storms, they're not going to last a full hour. So I'm talking at least maybe up to, because this thing is moving along.
Yeah, and normally when, you know, line goes through, we sound the all clear and say, hey, we're good. No, this is not that setup. So we got this going through. We got more thunderstorms that are really ramping it up here west of E-Town again. We even had tornado warnings with those a little bit ago, and we're going to see more of those later this evening. So it's not a one and done segment. And I believe we can show you the power outage map right now. We'll get to that. Yeah, there we go. So almost 164,000 customers, not people, just customers. Individual residences, businesses without electric now. And you see that creeping into Franklin County, into Anderson County, and Woodford County. And watch that Woodford County number here shortly. All of those are going to jump. Look at Western Kentucky. You've got a few counties out here where you are almost to what, not quite 100%, but you know, you got 9,600 customers in Trigg County, and 8,100 of those are without power.
Incredible. Here's some other news from outside of Kentucky, Chris. Big time deal though. Indianapolis 500 has been delayed, and they had to evacuate 125,000 people. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, goodness.
So that's happened up there, and they've got a severe thunderstorm warning right there for Indianapolis proper.
You know, and obviously the track has to be secure with some storm shelters or some safe places. Let's hope they could accommodate 120-some thousand people.
You know, you and I have been in a situation where we had to take shelter at a sporting event.
We did.
Well, a sporting event. It was a sporting event location.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago.
And you know, it was tight. But so hopefully they've got it. But that's what's happening up there, Chris.
Yeah. So there you see the current outage map, and we'll refresh this coming up here in a little bit because I suspect these numbers are going to absolutely jump yet again with this line. And again, all of this is just essentially for the western half of Kentucky. Back to our radar feed, and you see this big line of thunderstorms, first of many, that is racing through the area. Notice the curvature on that. So that is around essentially a low pressure that is kind of embedded within this whole mess of thunderstorms as everything is kind of spiraling through. But what you're seeing is that the damaging winds are right on the leading edge of this. Then you catch a break with just a lot of heavy rain, can cause some stream and street flooding, and then the next round of severe thunderstorms going to make its way across the area. Jim, let's go down towards Somerset, southern Kentucky, Lake Cumberland again, because obviously it's the unofficial kickoff to summer. Lake Cumberland, the busiest of the bunch in Kentucky, the biggest of the bunch, essentially. And It's nasty here. And the leading edge of that is right on top of Somerset, rolling its way toward the east with damaging winds. And that's a lot of lightning. You know, set up like this, hitting on your Memorial Day weekend on a Sunday afternoon, a lot of folks likely had plans. You just hope that they were paying attention to the forecast, not listening to a weather app, nothing like that, but listening to what we have been saying for 6 days since we first put out a first alert weather day for today. So you guys could plan your weekend based on what was coming our way. I kept saying I just did not like the look of Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. This is why. You've got damaging winds that are making their way across Lake Cumberland heading into Somerset. And Jim, these damaging winds are likely to go all the way into eastern Kentucky.
They're going to plow through. And we've got some video now that from Nicholasville, I believe. This is some video from over there shared on Twitter, or on X, excuse me, X. And you can see the wind, the rain, all of it picking up. And ooh, that streak of lightning. I mean, that was perfect timing. It's going to be right here at the end of this frame. There it is, off in the distance. But this is a similar scene to what a lot of folks are seeing and are going to see as that line keeps moving forward. We need extensions on those warnings out in eastern portions of Kentucky.
like now. This is one of those situations where you don't wait and make a determination. You put the warnings out. This line is not going to weaken as it gets to the east. So Montgomery County, Bath County, Powell County, Estill County, Menifee County, Fleming County, you guys need to be under warnings. You need to be under warnings now. There's no reason to sit and wait to see if this line is hopefully going to weaken. We can kind of hope all we want, but the facts are the facts. This line is continuing to barrel its way to the east with damaging winds likely with this. Jim, we had a 53-mile-an-hour gust at the Kentucky Mesonet site into northern parts of Fayette County, up near, I believe, the Spindletop area.
That's where it is, yeah, 53. And that's been one of the stronger ones coming through on the Mesonet network so far today. There are some others that are stronger out in western Kentucky, but 53 is right up there. And it's not that far removed from Keeneland and that area that we were watching a little bit earlier as a bird flies.
And we just got the eastward extension of those warnings.
Perfect. It takes you all the way down the Mountain Parkway, almost into Sigersville. And there we go. So the warnings have been extended, and they'll keep going. And you know what? I haven't been plotting the information for you. I'll throw up some of the information here on that new warning.
172,000 now without power.
Can prepare. Look at all that.
172.
Through 215. Estill, Lee, Menifee, Montgomery, Powell, Wolfe counties. And this is 116 right now when they've issued this warning. So that's part of that new group that goes out into that area. I'll drop that one, and then we will kind of zoom back in on what's going on here in Lexington and what's headed toward the folks there in Paris and also in Winchester. And it's rolling through Richmond right now too, Chris.
Yeah, it is, and that's going to continue to, as I say, and I mean the word, barrel its way through. This thing is not going to stop. It is going to absolutely just keep on keeping on, and then additional storms are going to come in behind that later this afternoon into the evening. And, one thing when I look at this, Jim, I'm noticing the leading edge of this now is becoming a little more jagged. So instead of that just perfectly, that perfect line on the leading edge of this, well, that kind of ups the ante, if you will, for a quick spin up of something. And when you start to see those little notches, Jim, if we could stop this and just kind of look inside just to see if we got something cooking here anywhere along this line. We got to do this periodically, folks. When we're on with continuous stuff, we don't get to jump off air and then do stuff that we would normally do. You got to get to see it live as it's happening. But I'm looking at this right now. Nothing is jumping out as of now. May have quick bursts of high winds here coming out of. This is what likely hit the Spindletop area right here. That lime green, the bright green here in northern parts of Fayette County, working toward Paris, and this would be the Spindletop area, north side of town, and that made its way through there with at least 53-mile-per-hour winds at one of the gauges there, and chances are they were 60 plus. Because as we kind of opined on earlier, what are the odds that the strongest winds hit a pin dot on this wide earth that we're dealing with here? But worst of the weather is into Cynthiana It is into Paris. It is heading into Winchester. It is right on top of Richmond now, and those warnings have been extended all the way through Moorhead, through Flemingsburg, to West Liberty, essentially to the Wolf-Magoffin County line. We got severe thunderstorm warnings here in McKee, into Broadhead, into Mount Vernon, and across central Kentucky. So Lexington and west, things are calming down right now. Good news. Bad news, we're not done. We got at least 2 more waves coming in this afternoon, coming out of western Kentucky, and another wave that's going to develop this evening. So it is that type of a setup where we're not one and done. And what we're dealing with now, Jim, into western Kentucky, noticing flash flood warnings that are being issued for a lot of counties, where they're getting these repeat thunderstorms. That's the concern later tonight, or later this afternoon and tonight.
You and I talked about this earlier in the week when we were here together one day, how similar, just the setup with all the storms, and not just here in Kentucky, but around the country with the severe weather leading up to this. It reminds us of about 20 years ago when we had about 17 confirmed tornadoes in about 10 days here in Kentucky. Some in eastern Kentucky, central, western, all over the place. And then we had all the flooding that immediately followed it because the ground was so full of water. And we
20
are
years ago.
Full. Yeah. I mean, 20 years ago to Memorial Day.
It was Sunday into Monday.
Yeah, by a fuzz, off by a day or two because, it fell at a different time that year. But yes, and that's exactly what we were talking about.
And we just got a picture of a tree down in Bergen, I believe, and if we can pull that up here in just a moment. I just retweeted that, but if we can get that up and show some folks, all right, good deal. And again, all kinds of just the wild clouds. I got north of Georgetown, trees down there. I just retweeted that. So yeah, lots of wind damage with these storms, Jim, and we're just now beginning to see the early stages of what is a multi-wave severe weather outbreak today.
And that's exactly what this is. I'm going to throw a storm track on this. The whole line, especially this central part, seems to be moving along at around 70 miles per hour. So I'm going to take it out, and I am going to show you the timing and some of the locations along the way. So Mount Sterling, it'll be there by 1:33. Stanton, you're going to get it by 1:42. Maysville, it looks like around 2:06, 2:09 in Moorhead. So, less than an hour. So, and remember, that's in Lexington. That's, more so in Winchester. So it's making about the same amount of time that it takes for somebody to get from that area on the interstate, because it's traveling at about the speed limits on the interstate, coming in at 70. So that is the timing on that West Liberty, around 2:24 for this part of the line, which is pretty intense for us. And that's what we have on top of us, Chris.
Yeah, let's go to North Georgetown, where we got a picture of that, at least one of the trees down there. And yeah, that's what folks in North Georgetown are dealing with up into Scott County, as that line made its way through here just a few minutes ago. That, again, we're going to see scenes like this, Jim, playing out all across the rest of Kentucky. If you're in eastern Kentucky, listen, this line is heading in your direction over the next hour to 2. This will probably be crossing US 23 from Ashland down to Pikeville in an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's how fast this thing's moving, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly how fast this is going. So it's just moving along. I'm going to draw this track out again. I adjusted the times a little bit, and I'm going to take you out over the next hour. This is an hour for that section of it. And there you see, I've changed the time just a little bit. Gives you a better idea of how quickly it could be. It was off by like 10 miles per hour, but it's been adjusted, and this thing's coming, and it's rolling right along here at some different times there for folks east of Lexington. And I'll drop down to the south of this too, so you can see it some of the times right there down around London as well. Again, I'm taking this from the leading edge of the strong to severe thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And going
hey, Jim,
eastward.
While we're doing that, for the booth, Amy Brack, I just got a picture of tree down and a car flipped in Versailles. And so we'll see, at least that's what the information said. Not really for sure, but it sure looks the part of what we're dealing with.
But there you see the latest track there on the south side of the line. London be there in 7 minutes. You're already experiencing some wind and maybe some light rain, but it's about to get a lot heavier here. Middlesboro, Harlan, Hazard, all within the next hour, taking you all the way up to 2:14 So it's going to make its way from Pulaski County, hazard. It's going to make its way from Pulaski County to you in less than an hour. So that is hammering down through that area. So that's what's coming their way, Chris. No warning out yet, but I imagine there will be.
Yeah. This is one of those you just blanket the area out ahead of it. This from Twitter from Versailles. Take a look at this, and then another picture of what may have been a car that may have run into that tree down without knowing it, or something of that nature. Obviously not for sure. Could just be an accident there, and chances are, hopefully everybody is okay. But that's what we're dealing with out of Woodford County right now, Jim. Is those storms. The worst of the weather is through Versailles. It is through Woodford County. It is now just to the east of Lexington and rolling its way quickly points east from there.
And you see the debris on that other picture. You see debris everywhere, little branches here and there, and that's going to be a common thing. So, I mean, it could have been anything. You're right. Could have just been a regular accident, but that's definitely a car flip because I can see the spare tire there on the bottom of it. So it may have even been a truck for that matter.
Yeah.
It's hard to say from this perspective.
Got a picture of a big branch down at Manowar and Harrisburg Road. Getting reports, Jim, of trees down in Somerset. This is a lot of people, social media, Jim, is a blessing and a curse, right?
Amen.
It is a blessing and a curse. But in days like this, it's the blessing part of it because it gives us real-time information that folks are sending us, so we are able to really look and see what these storms are doing in real time and pass along the information that we're dealing with. So again, guys, anytime up there in the booth you guys get some of these damage pictures that I'm retweeting, just pull those up at any time and just yell at me in my ear, and we'll talk about them. But that's Somerset, as that severe thunderstorm made its way through. I just got a picture of power lines and trees down into Danville, into Boyle County, and that was right where those storms were really causing some issues, and more pictures and damage pictures coming in out of Boyle County, Jim, and that was where I think we really started to see that line pulsing right back up or flexing again as it made its way across Boyle County between Perryville and Danville.
Yeah, that's exactly when it was happening. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and why we're seeing some of that now.
Here you go with some stuff out of the Danville area, what we're dealing with, and there you go, part of a tree down, another tree down, and some power lines. So yeah, and I just retweeted another one, folks up there, that's at Constitution Park. Take a look at this, if we can pull this one up. Constitution Park there, same person just sending that, and it is really showing the damage into that area at Constitution Park. So yeah, there we go. Look at that, Jim. So we got quite a bit of damage there. You got some roads that have at least part of the trees down on that. Constitution Park into Danville into Boyle County.
I'm seeing reports too out of Taylor County, big trees, old trees uprooted and thrown onto homes, and yeah, this is tough stuff that we're talking about. And the other thing that we haven't really talked about, Chris, is we talked about how much rain that we've had here recently. And here's the deal. That made the ground very, very soft.
Yeah, right.
And so you can get big trees to topple over like that a lot easier. It's going to happen with gusty winds like this, but it's even easier when it's been so soft.
And again, look how quickly that next line is kind of coming together back there. Stretching from south side of Louisville, Shepherdsville there into Bullitt County, goes back to the west of Bowling Green. Surprised they don't have more warnings out for those right now as they continue to bowl their way to the east. But those warnings into Kentucky that just continue to show off. Jim, let's see how many miles we've got here of these warnings, at least continuously. You're talking about, look at that, 253 miles. Of nothing but a continuous winter, I almost said winter storm warning, severe thunderstorm warning.
Severe thunderstorm warning, yeah. Now that's exactly what we've got. I'm going to go back just to the warnings map, Chris, here for just a second so we can just look at some of those.
Look at that video. That's Cynthiana. You can see branches that are flying around. There you go.
Oh,
see that?
Yeah.
Big branch just go
right off.
Took flight right there behind that telephone pole, and there she goes.
There it goes.
Likely causing a little bit of damage there.
That's one of the things we never see. We just always see after, but you're actually seeing the branch just take flight right there. So that's what's happening. But again, what he was talking about with that secondary line, no severe thunderstorm warning in Kentucky on it just yet. There's one down along I-24 north and west of Nashville, but that's the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have out there on that second line. But it's, this will still be a severe weather threat, but we really have to start worrying about the flooding here with that next round on its way. So we kind of enhance everything when it gets into that particular mode. I'll look at the First Alert Radar Network. And by the way, don't forget, you can download our weather app. We've got the QR code right there, and you can have radar in your hand, the palm of your hand, anytime. This is a great thing to have on boating days. Boating days that aren't like this that we've warned you about. And another thing that I recently learned, Chris, is a lot of these cell phone companies are required to have X amount of hours of backup battery time on their towers in case they lose power. Some of them have generators.
Interesting.
So they are required to have it so that you can continue to communicate. They're required to at least have up to 8 hours, and in some cases even more than that. So you could still get warnings, delays, and still see our stuff right here.
Wow, Jim Caldwell with a more you know moment.
That's what that was. So you can dig in yourself and kind of look around on the internet too.
Latest power outage map. Take a look at what we are dealing with right now.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly. 183,000 that are without power now, and you're seeing some of those getting into central Kentucky. So we suspected, Jim, we would go over 200,000, 300,000 potentially before the day is over. Right now, we're peaking at 182,000. You can see the concentration across the metro. And getting a lot of pictures out of Midway of trees down into Versailles, or in Woodford County, I should say, north of Versailles. And Jim, what we look at this, big trees down in Harrodsburg as well. Amy on my Twitter feed is just lighting up. Anytime you guys see some damage pictures or videos, just pull them up. But Jim, a lot of what we're seeing, the reports are where we are, the areas we were calling out where the worst of the storms were on our radar are the ones that are now giving us the damage reports, those specific areas, just to show you how good our radar system really is.
Right. No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's top notch, and we get the best of the best data.
Yeah, and that's large tree down Mercer County, the Harrodsburg area. So you can see
it snapped, didn't it?
It snapped, yeah. And so that wasn't uprooted. That was just completely snapped. So that takes some significant wind to snap a large tree like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever tried to cut a tree down like that, even with a chainsaw, you know all about it. A lot of our friends out there, they know it. And I also see, it looks like they had a swing set, maybe, or not a swing set, but a swing or some kind of nice set up there with seats that's flipped over as well, which is what you would expect in that situation. But certainly a snap tree right there.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, and just one of the many reports of severe weather we are getting. So here's your radar again. The line of severe thunderstorms goes from roughly Indianapolis through area just south of Covington, right on through the Lexington metro, through Madison County, Richmond, and through Somerset, where the lightning with this is tremendous. And I would bet you here into Pulaski County, we're getting in on quite a few damage reports that are going to be coming out of this. So Jim, let's take the radar in. Let's go along this line. We'll slow it down and just kind of look at the edge of this to see what we're dealing with, because those damaging winds are really now shooting east of Interstate 75. So we're going to give more heads up into eastern parts of Kentucky. But this is the headquarters area in Nicholas County. This would be Bourbon County. Here is Cynthiana into Harrison County. Mount Olivet right on top of you. Fleming County, you got about 30 minutes. Owingsville, you got about 30 minutes. Mount Sterling got about 5 before the worst of the weather gets in there. It is just slammed through Madison County, through downtown Richmond. Worst of the weather is over into Richmond, at least this go around. Irvin, Stanton, Clay City, and then eventually into Frenchburg, Campton, Beattyville, Boonville within 30, 45 minutes, down to McKee into Jackson County, Annville. Look how rough these storms are from Mount Vernon over to Somerset, Mount Victory. Hey, London, East Bernstadt, Lilly, down toward Corbin, and the Barberville area, and into sections of Whitley County. We're going to be dealing with that severe weather that is making its way very quickly into these areas. And Jim, where you see these little bits of bows in there, that's where you get those smaller scale winds that can be up there 70 plus miles per hour with the wind damage. And that's what we're dealing with. And a lot of concentration of the lightning here. And now, where these storms are in the same areas that this week picked up 4 and 5 inches of rain, watch the flooding here into southern Kentucky especially. And those warnings keep getting extended to the east. And they're going to keep getting extended to the east.
And that's the thing, they are. We're going to continue to see that push deeper and deeper into eastern Kentucky there. An area that knows flooding all too well, where it's just a little more common out there due to the topography of the region. It can fill up like a bowl all of a sudden, and you can really start to see those totals cause major issues out there. And I was looking at some of those winds there on that leading edge and that flank down there on the one in Williamsburg. At least some of the early gusts are trying to say at least 40, 50 miles per hour. With that, and you know, that's enough. That's a strong enough wind. It's not a severe thunderstorm wind, but away from some of those sites, it probably is, Chris. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and man, we're love our social media folks. You know, on X, Twitter, whatever we want to call it nowadays, we're getting just a ton of stuff from the area, and all the way from Louisville through the region. This is out of Richmond. Jim, look at this time lapse of this severe thunderstorm making its way through Madison County from our weather watcher Virgil down there, and that's what we've been seeing coming through Madison County. And the storm, the worst of it. Look at that, the beginning of it, just ripping through downtown Richmond. Funny, we can still hear the thunder booming here at the station.
I'm surprised that tree's holding on, but it is.
For dear life.
Yeah, it is, with that wind.
And I'm looking to see what the wind gust has peaked at so far.
Where at? Richmond?
42 into eastern Madison County, but that's where the storm is right now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we've got there. What was the peak gust out here at the airport so far?
Getting a report, tree down blocking the road at 4 Mile Road at Hunter Lane in Madison County. Jim, it was almost a year ago, Madison County took it on the chin by 100-mile-an-hour winds and baseball-sized hail.
Blowing that hail around, yes, blasting places.
That was a Sunday as well.
Oh, I remember that one all too well. Didn't we have a few Sundays in a row that we did that?
Back-to-back Sundays where we had all kinds of severe weather.
And this is a Sunday once again. We're tracking these kinds of storms.
Something about the Sundays of late.
So no active tornado warnings, but these severe thunderstorm warnings are just as strong as weak tornadoes. So that's why we continue with our coverage. As you have seen some of the pictures and video, it's rough out there. And there are a lot of people out of pocket. They're out of the norm. They're at cookouts. They're doing whatever, Chris. I mean, it's a holiday weekend.
And for our booth up there, I know we had some video a little bit ago we talked about from Somerset. If we can get that and pull that back up, because I just got another video and pictures showing pretty significant damage in Somerset as well. All right, so this is the view. Check this out. Look at all the trees down. Now, granted, those may be Bradford pears, which are extremely susceptible to high winds, but as you can see, a lot of damage there into Somerset. A lot of tree damage, especially.
A lot, and look, I mean, you've got
all the way up and down. Now,
that's the thing. It's far.
Now I just got another set of pictures and video out of Somerset as well, and we'll give you guys time to pull those up. But as soon as you get them, you can bring that up so we can show folks. But it is with this part of the line that made its way through there. Check this out. So here's from someone else in that same area, showing trees uprooted. Look at that from a security cam. All kinds of damage there, and there's some video as that storm made its way through. You see, Jim, anytime you start to see the leaves that are flying around like that, you know you've had some branches and trees come down without question.
Oh, they're out there. Watch it roll off that little gazebo there. I mean, watch that. I mean, that is some strong wind to cause that spray to look like that. Yeah,
and that again is down in Pulaski County, so we have a lot of damage across the region. We can come back to our radar picture and show you the leading edge of the damaging winds causing that. This would be Somerset right here. You're behind the severe weather now, at least this round. Here's Shopville. This is Highway 80. You get to London, becomes the Hal Rogers Parkway. This damaging wind is heading right into London. So we're looking inside this storm just to see if we can find any kind of a kink or anything like that. Nothing really showing up, but a pocket here of some really good winds right on top of 80 between Shopville and London. And that may be the culprit of causing all that damage we were just looking at into Somerset, and that is rolling into the Green area, East Bernstadt, London, Lilly, all the way down to Corbin and into Williamsburg. And Jim, that means, yeah, there are no tornado warnings. Jim said it a minute ago, no tornado warnings, but you know what? It wouldn't be too much of a stretch to say, hey, let's treat some of these winds like a tornado warning. Let's find that shelter just to be on the safe side. What do you say?
That's exactly what needs to happen. What I focused in on here is, as we were looking at this set of data down here, I started looking off screen at, let me go up here to the north just a little bit to show you where it might be, where we find some of the strongest winds. Could be right here, according to radar estimates, the ones that are moving right toward Mount Olivet, through Falmouth right now. And I'm going to peek inside this, and that's headed toward Maysville too. And so far, according to radar estimates, this is some of the strongest stuff, pushing right at 70 miles per hour. So 60 to 70 is a safe bet for that northern edge, and that's headed right toward the folks in parts of northern Kentucky, and like I said, out there toward Maysville as well. I mean, that's really howling through there too.
Just on Twitter, now I just got a good video in for the folks up there, and this is going to be an example of why we batten down everything that is loose out there, but especially a trampoline. Take a look at this video. Look at the trampoline that is up on top of that house there, Jim.
Oh.
Way up there, and it looks like it not only made it to the top of the house, but it got planted up there.
Yeah, because the wind's still going and it's staying.
And it's staying, exactly right. So that is out of Madison County. So yeah, trampolines are no match for high winds like that. They're like a big sail. The wind gets under there, boom, you're taking off.
It's one of the first things to go. They are, because you're right, it's like a sail, yeah, like a sail from a boat.
Crazy to see, and that video out of Richmond. And again, this is for people, Jim, we say this all the time, for people sending us pictures, videos. God bless y'all, we appreciate it, but here's rule number one: stay safe no matter what. Yeah, we love our pictures, we love our videos, but yeah, nothing is worth putting yourselves in the line of potential harm. Back to our radar, because look at the warnings now. I mean, that is one solid line of severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's a lot of wind damage, Jim, that continues to go into eastern Kentucky. And so
real close strike of lightning just then.
Yeah.
Here.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll catch it in our earpiece.
Yeah.
Lots of trees down, blocking roads across central Kentucky, Jim.
So this has traveled, the line has traveled just about down the Mountain Parkway. So you folks back home in Sigersville, you're not under a warning, but be prepared, because you've got some very strong winds that'll be there soon. We got the Clark County Mesonet side updated just a second ago, and 50 mile per hour peak wind gust there. And then you had a peak wind gust in Madison County at 42 at the one spot.
Sure.
Now again, that's what we're talking about. Well, we've at least recorded those kinds of winds, and that is what's coming your way just due east of that. Winds of at least 40 to 50 guaranteed from those reports, and then estimates that could go even higher than that. And that's down the Parkway and along the Hal Rogers Parkway as well, coming your way.
Yeah, we got a picture out of Main Street in Georgetown. So if we can take that here in just a moment, I'm going to show you a tree blocking Main Street into downtown Georgetown. And again, that's what we're dealing with there, part of that tree. And Jim, not only is that blocking, but it's got some power lines down too.
It sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got some utility lines, power lines, and this is a good reminder to say, never go around down lines, okay? Because they can spark without you even touching them. So we just get away from that and let the utility crews get in there and do some work to clean that up. and get everything back online.
They're the experts.
They're the experts. That's right.
They know what to do. So yeah, stay away from that stuff, and don't even touch the, because it's charged as well if you another strike.
I think that hit our tower. That was. Yeah, we all heard that one in our earpieces here, and then boom, the lightning was, the thunder was instantly. Look at that second line now pulsing up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
no warnings with that. Come on, we got. Chances are that's producing some damaging winds south of E-Town right now. Power outages across the area. Here we go with the current look. We're up to 100 and right at 190,000, and you're starting to see those trickling in to central Kentucky. And a little over 2,000 customers into Fayette County. And these aren't people, these are just customers. So, Jim, that's individual homes, that's individual businesses, what we are dealing with right now. And we'll see those numbers jumping continuously as that line goes through there. And then the next line comes into play. And then don't let your guard down, because we've got what may be the main show that arrives late this evening right along the front. And Jim, that is likely to be another major wind event as it plows through the region this evening into the wee hours of the morning. And that one's going to be especially concerning because for a lot of us, it's going to be hitting at night and after dark. There is no good time for severe weather. There is no good time for severe weather, but there is an absolute worst time, Jim. And when is that worst time?
That is at nighttime.
That's right.
I mean, you can't see it.
Jim, we just got a tornado warning in.
We
can come back to our radar. Tornado warning in for this cell into southern parts of Laurel County, northern part of Whitley County, and into Knox County. And this would include the Barberville area. Corbin, we're included in this as well.
Ooh, Chris.
So that is a tornado warning that is out with this cell right on top of Corbin. So if you're watching us in these areas, we were just saying, if you live down here, let's treat this like a tornado warning. Okay, now this is a tornado warning. Find your shelter immediately. And here is our spin that is coming right across, Jim, Interstate 75. So this would be our rotation right here. This is our possible tornado that is taking aim at the city of Corbin, crossing Interstate 75. That's going to hold together and would get into Knox County coming up here in about 5 minutes. So this is essentially just to the south of the Laurel County line, but a little too close for comfort, and now it's right on top of Corbin. That's how fast this thing is moving, Jim, as it makes its way to the east, and that's going to continue to roll out of Corbin. Corbin right on top of the Knox, Laurel, and Whitley County line. This is now east of 75, and it is making its way. Jim, in that system, we've got a Corbin cam. It may not be picking it up, but I'm not for sure if it's loaded in this particular show. If it is, we can pull it up. If not, no biggie. We'll keep it right here with the radar. But if you're watching us right now, especially in Corbin and into Knox County, toward the Girdler area, toward Barberville, you need to be in your basement, your safe shelter immediately. If we don't have a basement, get to the lowest floor possible. Here's a live view out of Corbin now, and Jim, you can see those. This is along the interstate. Not sure exactly where this is in relation to where this possible tornado is, but boy, you can see the winds that are whipping those trees around right now.
Yeah, so it's rolling, isn't it?
It is really rolling, and so we're going to go. And you can see, if you look closely there on the interstate, you can see lots of limbs down too. So let's go back to our camera, or not our camera, but Jim, our radar picture to go up close and personal on this brand new tornado warning. We'll put the specifics on there for this tornado warning, and we're also going to be going in to show some of the areas that are likely in the line of fire. I know we got a ton of viewers down here into this part of the world. So if you're watching us into Barberville, into Corbin, find that storm shelter immediately. This is your tornado warning until 2:15. This is going to go for Knox, Laurel, and Whitley counties. That again until 2:15, and that is rolling into the northern half of Knox County. And as we were looking at this possible tornado is essentially right on top of the city of Corbin, which is along the interstate, and this is quickly now pushing to the east. Jim, this was our concern all along with the line of storms, how you can get a quick tornado spin up. And a lot of times these, they don't give you a whole lot of advance notice because they just whip up. They're on the ground a couple or 3 minutes, do quite a bit of damage, and they're gone before you can really relay all the pertinent information to people. The storm is gone. So we're backtracking with this right now to show. I imagine Jim is doing this so we can look inside this storm and what we were seeing just a little bit ago. So we've taken this back, what, 20 minutes or so, Jim? Mm-hmm. So here you go, Williamsburg, Corbin. This is the evolution of our possible tornado. Here's 25, watch this, right here, and then boom, rolling into Corbin, right on top of Corbin, near the Laurel, Knox, and Whitley County line would be your possible tornado. So 25E, it is essentially making its way right into this part of the land. This is why we have that tornado warning that is out across this area. And treat this like what you would do any other tornado warning, folks. You need to find that safe shelter immediately. Above all else, Jim, we're going to cover our heads. That's the number one thing we tell folks. Cover your heads, because you know that's the first thing they teach those kids when they're at school. They tell them to get in that hallway and they cover their heads. And just like Chris is going to show you. Right here. I mean, listen. This is the folks at Bullard made this for us because every year we get on here and we talk about during tornado warnings, above all else, we don't care what you do, you cover your head. If you got an old hard hat, if you got an old bicycle helmet, if you got an old baseball batting helmet, a football helmet, anything to cover your head, because most injuries or fatalities from tornadoes occur from flying debris. So again, folks, put something over the noggin, and if you don't have anything, you cover your head and you get to the lowest possible floor. And the idea is to put as many walls between where you are and the possible tornado that you can. So you get to the center part of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. That, Jim, offers the most protection. And mobile homes, obviously we're into a part of the state here where we got a lot of mobile homes. So we want to evacuate those immediately. And when we're talking about bottom floor, center of the house, I'm going to give you a quick diagram of a house here, just a typical house. This gives you a 3D animation. Tornado off in the distance there, which could very well be the case down there around Corbin. All of the green areas are safe. You're getting like under this house has some stairs, so get under the stairs, get into the middle hallway, get into a closet inside maybe the hallway. What Chris was talking about, it was but put more walls in between you and the outside world, and then that's what you're doing. You're giving yourself an extra 2 or 3 rather than just being right to a window or in a room with a window that it leads immediately to the outside, which can cause debris to fly in, and you can be right there. So avoid doors, windows, outside walls. Cover yourself with blankets or mattress or a helmet, as he has said. And then, of course, if you've got a basement, we've got a basement in this virtual simulation. That is the absolute best place to be if you're down there around Corbin right now. That's a good place to be. You know what, in any case, with these storms racing through the area, possibly producing 70+ mile per hour winds, it's a good idea to go down there anyway and just hang out for a little while until these pass. Yeah, Mesonet side down in McCreary County, very close to that tornado warning with a 53 mile per hour wind gust just a little bit ago. So that's what we're dealing with right now, and I'm looking to see if we're getting any reports from this area. Getting lots of trees down, power lines down Russell Springs, and across now into Powell County, Jim, which makes sense given that line of severe thunderstorms that is making its way through there. Oh yeah, that all checks out. I'm gonna go back inside here. Yeah, there you go. He's still right still there, got that, just to the north of gray, right? Yeah, right there. So where you see that darker shade of green and then the lighter shades. Mm-hmm. Chris is going to point it out for you. Yeah, it would essentially be right here. So if we are getting a tornado, this is where we are getting it. This is 25. This is Laurel County. This is into Knox County on the southern part of Laurel County, the northern part of Knox County. Here's 25E. We're behind the storms, and you still hear the thunder that is just absolutely rocking and rolling. So if you're in gray, that possible tornado is right on top of you. If you're near Fletcher here in the southern parts of Laurel County, got to keep a very close eye on the situation. But all of this continues to make its way toward the east very, very quickly. This is the Rough Creek area into the Middle Fork area, Wells Cemetery Road. You see the areas we're dealing with, Jim, along Kentucky 1232. And then here is the community of Gray, where this possible tornado is, and it is making its way through the northern part of Knox County as we speak. This is why in this area, the communities we're pointing out, and Jim, that goes farther to the east as well, those are the areas where you need to be in that storm shelter immediately. The basement is the primary player here, the place to be, I should say, for where you need to seek the maximum protection. But let's face it, not everybody has a basement, so that's why we tell you to get to that center point of your home, wherever you are, and put as many walls between yourself and the outside as is possible, and always protect the noggin here. Here's the crane nest area. Jim is looping this to show you. Jim, this is trying to edge a little farther to the north, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to see. I want to see how that angle was going.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
It is. So, so now southern Laurel County is coming more into play. This system, instead of this possible tornado, instead of heading toward the Barberville area, may be hugging the Laurel and Knox County line. So again, the Gibbs area, here's 229, this is Fletcher, and community of Lilly is right here. Looks like we're on the northwestern edge of this, but Jim, the Laurel and Knox County line, that's where this possible tornado is right now, and rolling its way quickly to the east. So Crane Nest, up around Gibbs, the Blackwater area. Find that storm shelter now and get ahead of this storm before it gets in and gets ahead of you.
And you've got 229 there too. That's the road that the next at least decent sized road looks like that stretches through a couple of counties that it's headed for right there. And again, what we're looking at is that darker shade of green, how it's backed up against some of those lighter colors. That would be the little pocket of where we could be seeing some rotation perhaps.
New tornado warning out, Jim, southern Whitley County into Bell County.
Let's go to it.
Let's go to this one as well. And yeah, that southern edge of our line is all of a sudden now rocking and rolling. Here's the possible tornado on the northern edge of this map, the view we've got for you. And then right here into the Pearl area, that is 190. This is 92. This is Whitley County. Williamsburg, listen, this is off to our east and southeast. Saxton, this is to our east as well. But this is about to cross into the western part of Bell County. So right along 92 and rolling its way quickly to the east. And Jim, this again is an area that is kind of in no man's land. And you see how the radar gets a little pixely here and a little wavy? That's because now, Jim, we got the mountains down here.
Picking up on that, yeah.
Yeah, we're picking up on the higher elevation here. So here's 190, and here is Pearl, and this would be right on top, essentially, of the Whitley and Bell County line, and that is rolling its way toward the east very, very quickly. So if we are getting a tornado out of this, and again, this is another radar-indicated tornado, it would be right in this area near Pearl, and that's going to make its way toward the Frakes area, and then farther into parts of Bell County coming up here in just a matter of a couple of minutes. So we got two separate tornado warnings that are out into the same piece of Kentucky, into southeastern Kentucky, into Laurel County, into Knox County, and now getting down into Bell County and Whitley County. So yeah, that southern edge of the line has some little kinks with it. Jim, that northern, the spin that is on the Laurel and Knox County line, not as prevalent as what we were dealing with a little bit ago.
No, it's not quite as intense. I'm going to go zoom in on that and give you a fresh scan so we can look through the data just a little bit better. And it's certainly still showing it. It's there. It's just not quite as extensive or as intense as it was just a little while ago when it was at its worst. But again, as he mentioned, these have a history of quickly spitting one out.
Yeah.
And then they go away.
Highway 192, Pulaski County Road is impassable because of so many trees that are down in Laurel County 911 saying possible tornado, Old Way Road and Lick Fork Road into Laurel County. And I would imagine, Jim, that is on the southern side of Laurel County.
Mayor Greenberg has apparently, out of Louisville, has apparently tweeted that there's been one fatality from storms that moved through.
Goodness. Yeah.
That report just coming just a little while ago.
Out of Jefferson County.
Yeah. So again, Mayor Greenberg there in Louisville saying that a death storm related there, and that's the worst case. And that's why we stay on the air like this, is to keep you safe, so you can do whatever you can to stay alive, Chris.
Yeah, and still that spin is there. It may not be as pronounced, but again, that is into far southern Laurel County, Jim. There's the Bush community, and that thing, if it holds together, you folks into western parts of Clay County going to have to contend with this. Southwestern Clay County, I should say.
It's certainly trying to head that way. Again, I'm going to back up this data, and what you can see inside the scope there, you can see it trying to trend toward the north and east. So that's why we're saying it's not headed right for the city of Barberville or anything like that, one of the most populated areas there in Knox County, but this is kind of veering to the northern part of it. And then we had the other tornado warning that was south of that had some stronger characteristics and continues to have some of those stronger characteristics with it as well, there along the Whitley and Bell County line.
Yeah.
But the population is a little more less dense down there. But we can zoom in and show you either way.
Yeah, that's going to be heading right into western parts of Boyle County. Jim, if you can give us the broad view on just the current radar, and just to give folks another kind of update on how things are progressing, because folks up in the booth, if we could take this, my last retweet out of Scott County, Victoria Estates subdivision, to show a lot of damage coming out of this area. So again, we got our tornado warnings into southeastern Kentucky, into Laurel County, part of Whitley County and Knox County, and also into Knox and, or I should say Whitley into Bell. But this entire line is doing damage. Jim, take a look at this. Look at the damage out of the Victoria Estates area of Scott County. So we can cycle through these a couple times, because we won't go back to that first one, because you could see what looked like a building that lost its roof, and I'm guessing that what you're seeing here is that roof that was tossed downstream, including hitting that car. So there you go. Maybe a barn, maybe something of that nature, but that's what we're dealing with up into Scott County right now. And again, hurricane force winds, pockets of those can do that. Can do as much damage as a weak tornado.
As a weak tornado, right. And that's why we're still here on the air, is because of these winds.
All right, let's go back to the radar, and the line itself continues here into eastern Kentucky now. This is east of 75. Goodness gracious, the amount of lightning down here is just off the charts. Additional strong and severe thunderstorms back to the west of us, cruising on into town. But 2 tornado warnings here into southern Kentucky. But the warnings go from Dayton, Kings Island area, through Maysville, Moorhead, all the way down to Jellicoe Mountain into Tennessee. And those tornado warnings are embedded on the southern edge of this. So what we're going to do now, Jim's going to slow this down. We're going to zoom in on these storms, and we're going to start in southern Kentucky where we got the tornado warnings, and then we're going to go all the way through the rest of that line. So let's see what we can find in terms of the trouble spots down here into southern Kentucky, Jim, where we have those active tornado warnings and that possible tornado into far southern sections of Laurel County. So here's our spin right about in here. This is Barberville, this is Knox County, this is Laurel County. That is working its way now towards southwestern, very close to southwestern parts of Clay County. So we'll see if we get that tornado warning extended into Clay County. And then to the west of Middlesboro, right along 190 near the Whitley and Bell County line, is another spin that is working its way on through, and that may have a tornado with that as well. That's why we have those 2 tornado warnings that are out for these for this handful of counties here into southern and southeastern now parts of Kentucky. So we're going to take this radar view, we're going to lift it all the way through parts of east central Kentucky to see if we can find any other little kinks that may be showing up in this, and pockets of damaging winds as well. So Jim, we look at this. This would be Beattyville, Boonville, that's Lee County, into Alsey County, Jackson County, which is McKee, and then points to the north. You can see the leading edge of those damaging winds that are about to slam into Beattyville, Boonville, Manchester, up into Corbin and Frenchburg. There you go, that little bit of a backward C, Jim. That is like that little bow, likely an enhanced damaging wind threat that is into the Powell County area, Campton, Wolfe County, Red River Gorge, Natural Bridge. Likely had a lot of folks who were camped out there this weekend. or maybe going down there today to do a little gorging. Hopefully you were heeding our forecast and you didn't get trapped out there with these storms coming on in. That extends into Frenchburg, into Menifee County, into Owingsville. So the pockets of, not pockets, but widespread wind damage continues to surge toward the east. But look at this, and I don't see anything right now that is suggesting of anything other than straight line wind damage, at least with this part right on top of the Mountain Parkway. 460 coming out of Frenchburg into Montgomery County, and of course Interstate 64, Owingsville, Cave Run Lake. If you got some folks who are out on Cave Run Lake right now, it's a very popular area, Jim, during lake season, as we know. We probably, both of us spent a few times there, spent a few class days at Morehead State out on Cave Run Lake. But this is what we're dealing with right now. Those damaging winds are rolling into those areas.
And just that leading edge by itself, still producing winds up to roughly 40 to 50 miles per hour, according to radar estimates. Now, obviously, they can be stronger once they actually reach the surface. So that's just what I can get from data, just looking at pure raw data right now, at least getting to that level.
And kudos to the National Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia, because they went ahead and placed their 4 northeastern Kentucky counties, Lawrence, Carter, Greenup, Boyd, under severe thunderstorm warnings.
But
no yet
Elliott.
you've got no Elliott County or eastern Morgan County in that. This is what happens when you have multiple National Weather Service offices that are kind of doing their own thing.
And that's what we have.
It's not jumping Elliott County and going to just all of a sudden magically reappear into Lawrence County.
It is not. But again, you see the warnings that are lined up from up around Cincinnati down into Tennessee, just past Jellicoe Mountain there. That's where we find all the warnings. The tornado warnings are a little more active there in Knox County and also into Bell County as well, because most of that intense area has now shifted to the east of Whitley County. So where it was spinning, most of that has now entered there. Now, this is a very lightly populated area, but if it stays right on track, and I've got to go peek inside this again and give you some of this other data, but if it stays right on track, you're talking about going toward the city of Middlesboro here. So let me back this up just a little bit to see the progression of it. Yeah, I mean, it's a due east kind of thing, even diving south and east. So right there, the city of Middlesboro on your screen, you can see it right there, and then you can see what's left of the spin here along 74. So listen, if you're down there, I'm not sure how deep we get into that area, but if you're watching online, because we're streaming this, take shelter if you're in the city of Middlesboro, because there is a possible tornado coming in your direction embedded within that. And, you know, it's a city that's no stranger to tornadic activity there, Chris.
Yeah.
And they've had a few confirmed through the years.
Absolutely. And one of the stronger tornadoes ever to hit eastern Kentucky was in Middlesboro decades ago. We just got more damage pictures out of Scott County. I've got a ton, by the way, but if we could take the ones out of the Midway Road area, Ironworks Pike, Midway Road area of Scott County. Look at those pictures, Jim. Lots of trees down. You're going to see some power lines down as well. That tree just flat out uprooted because of the winds. And there you go with a part of a tree down and taking some power lines with it. So that's what we're dealing with out of Scott County. So you can see the pockets of where we have those hurricane force winds just based on the number of pictures we're getting of damage in these areas. Mercer County, Scott County, parts of Versailles and Pulaski County, and you know, just hot spots in there, Jim, of where we likely had winds approaching hurricane force with the gusts at least.
No, yeah, I mean, we've already got reported stations, Joe, 50 to close to 60 miles per hour in our area today, which fits the criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. Then you've got the other areas that could be even stronger than that as well. So that's what we've got moving through our area right now. And what I've done here is I've zoomed back in on that Knox County possible tornado, and there's still a little broad circulation there. So you can't say all clear at this moment, but they haven't extended that warning. They did shave off the backside of it, but it's still right there, passing over 11 here within the past couple of minutes too. And that's a little 2-lane road, but it's a road that people use to get from Manchester to
And it looks like they're
Barberville.
extending the severe thunderstorm warning downstream, going to let the tornado warning expire.
Yeah.
So that's at least some good news there.
But again, don't let your guard down in that area, because those winds have been tough so far. I mean, you're seeing all the proof of that. So now that includes from that section that once produced a possible tornado, that now includes from Hyden down to the Harlan County line and then the southern half of Perry County. So you're getting south of the city of Hazard, so out toward Vico and Viper and those spots, and then right into Letcher County and beyond.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and we've had two reported calls of lightning strikes causing small fires at homes in Lexington with these storms that have made their way through. And let's go back to the power outage map, because that thing is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Look at this, Jim. We're up to 14,000 without power across Kentucky. Now, that is by far and away the most outages we have had in terms of power outages across Kentucky. These are homes and businesses, not individual people, but 214,000 outages across Kentucky. This is the most we've had since that violent windstorm we went through back in March 3rd of last year.
It was that one.
2023.
And that was a tough one, too. And I was just looking to see what the status was even at my house, and it looks like I haven't lost power there in Clark County. So, but there are thousands, it looks like, without power there, too. Look up there in Harrison County, Chris. That is where we had the northern flank of this. Winds were
Came
a
out
lot
of Scott
stronger.
County into Harrison County.
And you're seeing a big chunk of power outages up there. And look at Powell County now with the higher color.
Yeah, how many we got in Powell County?
Yeah. That just
right there. That's yeah. So you got 14. We're tracking 1,400 homes and businesses. You got almost 500 that are without power.
All right. So and again, multiple services are in these places. This is one.
Right.
Yeah. So you get different numbers, but that's still quite a few people. Customers.
Yeah, and so you can see how those outages are really now ramping up into the Bluegrass region and eastern Kentucky. Yeah, you're going to see outages as well. Those current warnings, we go back to our radar picture, we can show you what we are dealing with now. Those warnings have been extended all the way into what looks like Wayne County, West Virginia, through Boyd County, through Lawrence County, into Johnson County, Magoffin County, and Morgan County. And then we got additional warnings that go all the way now into Perry County, Letcher County, and Harlan County. You got this one small little area without it. Listen, let's just blanket this stuff and be done with it. Give everybody a heads up. We know the winds are coming in your direction. There's a break into central Kentucky, and then more storms are coming at us from the west. This one may target southern Kentucky a little more, and as this one goes through, Jim, that may raise the concern a little more for flash flooding here into southern Kentucky, because you're going to put more heavy rain in there.
And you just talked about it. Some of the totals just from the other day, 4 or 5 inches, this week. And now we're going to throw in a quick few more.
Yeah, and chances are, I haven't looked at the Mesonet sites down here, but chances are we just picked up another inch at least with some of these storms that made their way across these areas. I would say at least a few locations checking in with an inch or so of rain. And now we're seeing all of this targeting eastern Kentucky. This is the initial wave of severe thunderstorms. Yes, after this goes through, we can at least take a breath, but we can't fully exhale yet, because we got more strong and severe thunderstorms coming in later today and right on through tonight. This is not a one and done setup that we're going to be dealing with. So multiple waves of strong and severe thunderstorms, and the one coming in later on tonight is likely to be just as powerful as the one we're dealing with right now. Meteorologist Ben Beddoes joining us now into Anderson County, Lawrenceburg. Ben, this was one of the areas that took it on the chin the earliest. You found some trees down. I understand a lot of trees are down in that area.
Yeah, we got some trees down here, Chris, and some power lines as well. Kind of look behind me. You can see the numerous trees down. This is at Woodford Street and Fairfield Avenue, and you can even see a car that has a tree that has fallen on it. We have, again, numerous power lines. Can't get too close to it because that is live wire there. Now, emergency personnel did tell me that they're going to the other side of the block to view the other side of the damage. We don't have information yet on the extent of the damage, but they're still currently checking that out. But you can see, obviously, wind took down quite a bit of trees here and some power lines. And of course, that home there got that tree down on that car. So we'll have to keep you updated and have more information. But live here in Anderson County, I'm Ben Beddoes, WKYT.
All right, Ben, stay safe out there. And obviously, you've got your work cut out for you. It's kind of chasing these storms. in a lot of cases, storms have been chasing us. We haven't had to go very far to find damage on a day like this, but certainly lots of damage now showing up across central Kentucky. We got the tornado warnings that are in the red across the southeast. Let's go in, focus on those tornado warnings, blanket severe thunderstorm warnings. If you're watching us right now from Maysville to Moorhead down to Knox County and Bell County, and you're east of that, just know that you've got damaging winds that are coming on into play. Here's that small little piece of real estate still under a tornado warning north of the Barberville area. And then you've got Middlesboro and the Pineville area, or Middlesboro especially, south of TJ, that has been extended into the southwestern corner of Virginia. So just on the other side of the line. And Jim, still a pretty good signature there coming out of the Middlesboro area.
Yeah.
There's almost a little spin right here into Clay County, south of Manchester. That may be what is left of that circulation we were tracking. They put out a severe thunderstorm warning for that, but no tornado warning. But here's the tornado warning, Jim. That is Middlesboro, and that goes over into southwestern Virginia. That's about to cross the line 10 minutes or so, give or take. That'll be into Virginia, rolling its way on through. So here's 25E. That spin is right on top of downtown Middlesboro. If we know anything about Middlesboro, Jim, it's in a bowl, right?
It is, yes.
It's down in a bowl. So we will watch those winds as we get down in that bowl. Likely they are cranking right now along 441 and then rolling just across downtown Middlesboro. 25E is right here, and that stuff's going to continue to make its way on through the No-Town area just to the west of Middlesboro. Here you go with the 441. And if we are getting a tornado with this, and this is a radar indicated tornado, it's nothing that has been confirmed, no ground truth to this, no ground sighting of this as of now. But the radar is seeing enough spin, so we're seeing winds that are going in one direction, and then you see the colors behind this changing. So we got a spin that is going on. We got winds in the green that are going toward the radar or away from the radar, winds going toward, and then you get a spin right on top of Middlesboro. That is why we have that tornado warning here into Bell County. So if you're watching us into Middlesboro, toward the Cumberland Gap area, you need to be in that storm shelter immediately as this possible tornado continues to roll its way toward the east. And we're broadening out that view a little bit to see what else we're cooking up and watching that to the southeast of Manchester into Clay County. Right here, Jim, that's just interesting. And I wonder if that is that same spin that prompted the tornado warning coming out of Laurel County.
I'm going to adjust so I'll go back and play through time so we can see it.
Yep.
And we will try to determine
while Jim's doing this. Oh yeah, there it is. That's it. That's the
yeah.
same spin. A little surprised we don't have a tornado warning for that, given what we've seen with this. So if you're watching us toward the Big Creek area, 421. Yeah, let's find our safe shelter right now, and that would that's very close now to the Leslie County line. So folks into Hayden, and this would be along the Hal Rogers Parkway and south. Yeah, find those safe shelters immediately. This is the Plank area. So that little bit of spin, Jim, is right there to the south of Plank, heading toward the Creekville area and along and south of 421. All right, meteorologist Alexa Minton joins us now, traveling along the Mountain Parkway, where I'm not for sure if you're into Clark County or if you're into Powell County. We lost your signal there for a moment. That's how hard it's been raining. But tell us what you've been seeing here.
Yeah, we drove on 15 for a moment. Right now we are on the Mountain Parkway. We just passed by Clay City, and what we're noticing is there's a lot. We've seen everything, ranging from split trees to branches down to debris littering parts of the side of the roadway. So definitely a lot of issues, especially if you're not on any of those major highways. If you're on any side roads, we're not only noticing debris littering parts of the area, but lots of water on those roadways. I know Jim and Chris have been talking a lot about how much rainfall we're getting in regards to this entire system. I mean, there was a point there when we were in Fayette County where we saw quite a substantial amount of water on some of those back roadways. So definitely give yourself plenty of extra time. We're doing our best to follow that storm system. We're headed towards Stanton at the moment, trying to follow behind all the activity that's making its way towards eastern Kentucky. You can definitely tell it's quick passing rain, but when it's there, it's going to come down pretty heavy, and that's why we get those debris instances on the sides of the road. So make sure you take lots of extra time as we continue to track this storm all throughout parts of eastern Kentucky. But I'll go ahead and throw it back to you, Jim and Chris, as we continue to follow storm.
All right, Alexa, great job. Stay safe out there. And if you could find any more damage, obviously we'll be checking back in with you coming up momentarily. That's along the Mountain Parkway. Jim, new tornado warning is out here, and you just zoomed in on it. This is for southeastern, a small part of southeastern Bell County, and a very small sliver of southern Harlan County. This is going to go until 2:45. So Bell County, Harlan County until 2:45. Pineville, we're not included in this. Middlesboro, this is especially right on top of us and just to our east, and matches up with that tornado warning that is out on the other side of the state line with Virginia. So we've got that possible tornado that we've been tracking right on top of the city of Middlesboro, and this thing has been pushing to the east, and that little bit of rotation, Jim, it is still showing up right here into the 25E corridor coming out of Middlesboro, and it's right on top of the north side of the city as of now, and this thing is rolling its way to the east, and if that holds together, this is essentially going to hug the Virginia state line through southeastern Bell County into southern parts, and I mean far southern parts of Harlan County, and that rotation is still pretty, it's in decent enough shape in terms to keep a warning going. It's broad right now, but boy, we don't like to see that color contrast, that couplet, Jim, that is showing up right on top of Middlesboro. And that, again, here's the state line with southwestern parts of Virginia. So that thing is rolling its way right on top of the border counties.
And continues. And again, what we had in that area a little earlier, we had these, as Chris has been talking about, these notches, the way the segments have been kind of rolling out. You get a little spot that a really fast wind they'll drive, and then on to the northern side of it, it's not quite as fast. Well, that causes a little spin, it causes a little twist, and you get that twist. And that's how this started, and that's how the same one started that we had up there in parts of Knox County, and now getting into Clay County, though it's still just a severe thunderstorm warning. But that right there, it has some decent number values with it too, saying that it's suggesting there's a nice little bond there of spin potential embedded within that. Now, some of that's going to go over into Harlan County, some of it's going to go over into Virginia as well. So that's where we are. It's bypassing the Cumberland Gap Tunnel, though, right now. It's north of that. But because the tunnel would be literally right about there. I mean, because you go through the state line, and that would be it. And the tunnel, it's passing by just to the north of that, going through the city of Middlesboro at this particular moment. And as I zoom out a little bit more, you folks that are out there in Harlan County, it's not quite in there yet, but what they expect is it to kind of take a track. And I'll kind of spit this out here for you a little bit. It's going to take a track similar to this right here, and that's why they added that section of for the folks there in Harlan County. That's why you got added into that, because it's likely going to go in that general direction here as we head through time here the next little bit. So that's why you've been highlighted, because it's had a little bit of a northern veer to it, but they're covering all the bases, getting two different warnings out, one out for Virginia and one out for the rest of Bell County there, and going into Harlan, Chris. Yeah,
and for folks up in the booth, guys, if we let's just cycle through my Twitter feed for a little bit, because we got a ton of damage pics and videos coming out of Lexington, out of Danville, out of different areas. If you could just tell me exactly where we are looking at here, and then we'll kind of talk about it. This is Somerset, the Slate Branch area. Look at that large tree that is across the road, and you see some power lines that are down with it as well, and dealing with the overall structure of the storms into central Kentucky, where we've got heavy rain that has been showing up. Center College campus with the severe weather that is there into our region, and we are seeing the damage that extends farther into central Kentucky. Let's look at some other pictures.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so there's Meadowthorpe in Lexington. And that is what we are seeing across the Meadowthorpe area of central Kentucky, of Lexington. So lots of damage that is out there. All right, let's come back to our radar picture, and we'll get some more pictures and videos coming up here in just a little bit. First Alert Radar Network, that tornado warning continues to be in effect for Middlesboro heading into southern parts of Harlan County. That is with our storm that may very well have a tornado with it. And Jim, the circulation on that continues to show up pretty strong right on top of Middlesboro and rolling its way to the east. Thankfully, the majority of this may be out of Kentucky and into southwestern Virginia coming up here very, very shortly. It looks like that spin is ready to cross out of Bell County and just north of Highway 58 into the southwestern corner, the most southwestern corner you can get for the Commonwealth of Virginia, out of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We don't wish ill will on anybody, but let's get this thing out of Kentucky and into another state. All kinds of warnings that continue in effect across all of central and eastern Kentucky, and you can see what we are dealing with. Just about all of eastern Kentucky now under a severe thunderstorm warning, with those winds that are absolutely cranking along this entire line. It has been a while, Jim, since we've seen a line of thunderstorms produce significant wind damage like this one, from western Kentucky, actually southern parts of Missouri, through the entire length of Kentucky. And now, if we continue to see wind damage continuously with this for just a little while longer, you wonder, will this get declared as a derecho?
Well, I mean, it could very well be, because it's gone on for miles and miles and miles. And it's been a straight line event for the most part, other than this, these couple of tornado warnings that we've had here. I want to show y'all, I'm just going to jump to something else here for just a second, because I want to show you how much things have changed and what's happened out there just to the air around you. I'm just going to throw up a random temperature map to show you how things have cooled. Now look at that right there. We're all the way down to the 60s out west, Chris. Mm-hmm. We're still holding on to 80s out east, so the air is still very warm, very moist, and can still hold a lot. And then you've got that next batch of thunderstorms that's going to be running into that, and it can still exist. That's how intense this whole setup is. So that's the way the air has changed here over the past several hours.
And down here, I've got the future radar set up, where we can look at this and look ahead, Jim, to what is coming down the road over the next few hours. So the future radar picking up on these waves of thunderstorms that are zipping their way through. Now, is it going to nail the timing, the intensity, and the placement of each one of those? No, it's not, but it's giving us a pretty good idea that we got additional thunderstorms coming at us. Now, the concern is later this evening, Jim, the atmosphere in western Kentucky recovers very quickly. Watch those almost supercell thunderstorms 7 o'clock this evening through 8 o'clock, lining up from E-Town back to Owensboro, Henderson, Evansville, into the central Kentucky area. And then by 9 o'clock, here we go again with what may be another damaging wind event. And the concerning part of that was at the beginning of that, Jim, you saw some supercell thunderstorms that the model is trying to blow up. Those are the ones where you can get the tornadoes with that. By midnight or so, we're still seeing that line of thunderstorms zipping its way across southern Kentucky. First thing tomorrow morning, thankfully, we're kind of calling off the dogs, if you will, in terms of severe weather as that line gets out of here. But the concern on that was the beginning of it when you see those supercell thunderstorms forecast to go up.
Again, I'm going to back that up just so you can see that next. So I'm going back in time here, back in time, and then you can see what he's talking about. Notice those that are firing up out to our west, boom, and then they just continue to kind of push through. So that's your next threat. So this is one wave leading the way, the one that's now deep into eastern Kentucky. Then you've got the follow-up, and then another potential round that develops tonight. See, that's why we're here. That's why we're giving you this first alert, because it's one right after the other, lining up and then moving across Kentucky. That's our concern, and that's why we're here, because it stays active the rest of the day.
Yeah, let's go back to our Twitter feed, if we got that, guys, to show some more of the damage pictures and videos that are coming in. Let's go to Cynthiana, Harrison County, where we've got some trees down. See some of Cynthiana's finest there in the distance, and see part of that tree broken off. and into part of a roadway there that is blocked because of the downed trees. And we've got additional pictures and videos that have been coming in for a little while now. And I just got some really good video out of London, by the way, of what looked like a security camera as that storm made its way through. We can pull that up here momentarily, and we will see what we are dealing with into central Kentucky.
That's right.
And there you go with that WKYT First Alert weather day that we're dealing with. This is London, where we've got the damaging winds that made their way through. This is from a little bit ago. Watch that tree all of a sudden just kind of tap out. You can see part of it down. You see a lot of the porch furniture being rearranged by Mother Nature quite effectively. So, yeah, that's just the minor stuff associated with these storms as well. Let's go back to our First Alert radar network, and we see that line of thunderstorms making its way across the eastern half of Kentucky, and that is going to continue to be the case, where you've got that tornado warning still in effect for a small part of Bell County and Harlan County. We're about to say goodbye to that as that storm is now into sections of southwestern Virginia. So Middlesboro, sounding the all clear. The worst of the weather is off to our east, but eastern Kentucky, there is nothing that we're all clear about, as that line of severe thunderstorms is now barreling its way from Vanceburg through Moorhead, through Natural Bridge, right on top of Lee County, the Beattyville area, Booneville, and then it kind of bows a little more in toward Leslie County, coming out of Knox County, out of Clay County. That may be some pretty good wind damage with that bow that is heading right toward Leslie County, southern Perry County, northern Harlan County, Knott County, and down into Letcher County. So when you see those little bows embedded within this overall line, that's when, Jim, you can get some serious winds. Not that the entire line isn't already producing wind damage. You can just get a little bit of an uptick toward more of hurricane force winds, and that's why we're seeing those hot spots of damage across parts of the Bluegrass region, with greater than 200,000 customers now without power. What'll happen, that number should drop into the western part of the state as crews get out there and get the juice flowing. But then that next line that we're seeing across the Bluegrass region southwest begins to flex just a little bit too and makes its way on through. Let's go to South Lexington, where we've got a tree on a power line that's what we're seeing there. And you see a little smoke coming from that branch there, Jim. If you gotta squint, but right in the middle of your screen, that branch, there you go. There's a little smoke coming
there
off
is,
that
absolutely.
bad boy.
That's exactly what that is.
So we did spark at least a small tree fire with the lines that are down into Lexington. So views like that, scenes like that, Jim, playing out across the entire region right now. That's why a lot of folks are in the dark.
And I was looking at that second line, Chris, on radar, the one that has no active warnings. But just because it doesn't have warnings doesn't mean it doesn't pack a punch. Some of the radar wind estimates are suggesting, especially along 64, you could still get up to 50 miles per hour and nothing severe. But if you notice that right there at that northern side, going into Frankfort as well, you get a little more intense, and then the intensity goes all the way back down into Bowling Green. So that still has some good wind with it, and that's about to approach and already has approached the city of Frankfort. So the winds have picked up again and will be right there in Lawrenceburg and in Lexington, Versailles here within the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, so yippee, another thunderstorm and another line of potentially strong and severe thunderstorms. Let's go to Danville. We got a tree down on a home. I believe this is from our buddy Larry Vaught down there into Danville, and you see that from the front view, the back view as well. So insurance adjusters are going to have a field day over the next several days. Going to be busy bees throughout the entire region, and that is out of Boyle County, where that was one of the first areas, Jim, we started to really target with those damaging winds, where we started to pick up that damaging wind cluster, that signature coming out of Marion County, coming out of Washington County, and right on into Boyle County, Mercer, and Anderson. Those were the three areas right out of the gate that were the hardest hit.
And we're seeing the reports come in to back up, though, how intense those winds actually were, because you're seeing scenes like that in all of those locations.
Yeah, what we're doing now, we're looking at those powerhouse winds that are making their way across parts of southeastern Kentucky, Manchester through Hyden, the Buckhorn area of Perry County. And when you start to see this little bit of a backward C showing up, that bow right in there, that is when you know you've got even stronger winds that are trying to push out through that main line, and that's what we're dealing with into Leslie County, heading into Harlan County, and eventually getting into southern parts of Perry County. By the way, that tornado warning, Jim, it's still out there, but a quick look inside this is going to suggest that, yeah, that's pretty much over.
Yeah, and another look at the data. Yeah, so
we've lost the rotation with that. What little rotation it had. Notice we pick up another bow right there out of Moorhead, West Liberty, down toward Campton. That is heading into northeastern Kentucky, and chances are that is going to be producing winds in excess of 60 miles per hour at the peak of it. Up and down we go. Nothing that looks tornadic within that, but boy, you can see that sharp gradient into West Liberty where those winds are just stout, making their way across the Morgan County area and rolling their way quickly toward the east. This line of severe thunderstorms will be out of Kentucky within the next 45 minutes or so. The next line is coming in. It's interesting to note how National Weather Service down in Nashville, Tennessee is handling this versus the National Weather Service in Louisville. Granted, those storms south of the border are a little stronger, but they've just blanketed that area with a severe thunderstorm warning. Louisville has chosen not to do that. But Jim, looking at the radar signature from this next line of thunderstorms that is getting into Columbia, Campbellsville, and eventually Lake Cumberland, when I start to see the leading edge like this that is really, really sharp, where you go from no returns to immediately the yellows, the oranges, and the reds, that's usually, Jim, a telltale sign of another surge of some pretty good winds that are coming in with that line of thunderstorms.
Yeah, but there's not much, as you said, not much of a gap there on that leading edge. So that's what I was talking about a minute ago. I was looking at some of the velocity data off camera here, and they are just whipping and wailing through there. I mean, not to severe status according to radar estimates, but they're close in some cases out there. A very intense, gusty thunderstorm or two passing through, like Campbellsville right now. Some of the estimates suggest up to 50 miles per hour. That's below severe criteria, but that's still decent.
And for the folks up there, if we can get Ben back up here in just a little bit, he sent us some pictures, Jim, just a moment ago of a lot of tree damage there down on cars and homes into Lawrenceburg. So if he is ready to go at some point here soon to share that with our viewers, we would love to get him back up for an update. Let's show you the pictures that he just sent us out of Anderson County. Check that out, Jim, with quite a bit of damage there.
And a car underneath, you're right.
Car underneath. Hopefully nobody was in that car. And then you see the damage in and around Lawrenceburg with that. That was the first wave of, or the first area to get just rocked. Look at the power lines and the utility lines that are down with that tree as it makes its way through that region. Also watching the rest of eastern Kentucky, where severe thunderstorm warnings are out as that line just snakes its way through. Look at this, and our future radar, folks, when I left you guys, last talked to you on Friday, is showing today, man, oh man, that thing did an absolutely bang-up job. So it was showing this line snaking through the region for several days, and that's exactly what happened with another line behind it, and then a stronger line that'll come into play later tonight. Now, I'm watching this part of our second line that is right on top of the Casey and Taylor County line. Almost a little cell merger, Jim, that it goes on with that line that makes its way through. So I would imagine near the Casey and Taylor County line, we're going to get some pretty good winds with that. We may have to pop a warning for that one here very, very shortly with this next cell that is rolling toward Liberty there into Casey County.
That's the area I was concerned about a minute ago. That's where I was saying they're peaking up there. I mean, they're really starting to blow. And yeah, absolutely, because radar estimates are better than 50 now. I've got up to 58, 59 miles per hour, which puts you in severe thunderstorm status anyway. It's in a small little pocket of it, but nonetheless, they're there. And that stretches all the way up to just outside of Harrodsburg, too. So there's not a lot here's what's interesting about this. There's not a lot of lightning. It's not a classic thunderstorm there on the northern flank of that, but it does have the necessary wind speed to reach that level.
Right.
Again, according to what radars are estimating out there. So that is of concern. But intense winds coming your way. Already raining again in Versailles, soon be here in Lexington.
Another picture out of the Danville area of another tree on a home. And that's a large tree. And we've seen, oh gosh, how many pictures now we're getting out of the Boyle County area of trees down on homes. Obviously, you know, it's a historic area, Danville, a lot of old trees, a lot of old homes that have been there forever. And these huge trees uprooted there.
Is that showing a gas line?
It may be a gas line or a water line or something through there.
Something that's pulled up because the roots, you know, are right around the. Wow, yeah, that's it. That's,
or maybe just a drain.
Could be. I can't see some from over here. But yeah, that's intense. But those are big old trees and the ground's been saturated, so it makes it a little easier. And by the way,
that view.
Yeah, that right there tells the story right there on that house. By the way, you see that QR code on your screen, folks? Just in case you happen to lose power, you might lose a way to see us if you're watching just through regular television. But if you get that QR code, get the weather app, get our news app, you can watch us because, as I mentioned earlier during this coverage, I just learned recently that those cell phone tower sites are regulated to have X amount of battery backup power, or in some cases they do have generators on site, so that way you don't lose service. So you can continue to watch, you can continue to look at radar, you can continue to stay with us right here on WKYT, even when you don't have power in the house. So just something to think about. Just scan that thing, it'll open up. Go to your camera, and it'll tell you where to go. That's how it goes.
You know, while we've been consumed with the warnings out there, severe thunderstorm watch was issued for much of our region. For Bourbon, Harrison, and Nicholas. So northern Kentucky had a severe thunderstorm watch that was issued.
Well, I hadn't seen that.
So yeah, same.
We've
been a little busy with all the warnings, but you may see part of that showing up as soon as we get this watch map. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so they blanketed that whole area out ahead of that line with just a severe thunderstorm watch, essentially. And it matches up with the curvature of the line. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it really does. So that's what you've got out there right now, as you see.
Yeah, that line, it curves this way, so that watch goes all the way now deep into Ohio, West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky tornado watch continues until 4 o'clock into central parts of Kentucky, back into Western Kentucky, and that's got another hour and a half or so, give or take a little bit, with that next line that is developing right on top of Western Kentucky. But the atmosphere is going to recover behind that, and we got another major line of damaging wind producing thunderstorms. I think that's likely to blow through here a little later on this evening. So there you go with the current watches that are out and your current radar map. And Jim, that second line, yeah, that leading edge of it there on the Taylor and Casey County line is beginning to ramp it up a little bit. We're going to watch the streams down here. I believe you were looking at Pulaski County. You said they picked up a little more than an inch or so of rain this afternoon.
About an inch and a quarter.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and that's coming on the heels of the 3 and 4 and 5 inches they picked up just a few days ago. So we got to be on guard for the potential for some flash flooding into these areas. And here you go with the rain coming into central Kentucky. Thankfully, the northern edge of this isn't that severe. Here is Lawrenceburg that took it on the chin a little earlier. Meteorologist Ben Beddoes joining us now from that part of the region. He's got his hood on. That means the rain is back in town, and I hear generators, chainsaws, everything else in the background. Ben, what are you finding?
Yeah, Chris, we got the generator up behind us. Certainly have some power lines down, and the rain has also started to fall again. We are on the other side of this damage. You know, we came to you earlier over by Woodford Street and Fairview Avenue, but we're on the other side of this now, and you can see the trees that are certainly down, and also the power lines that are down as well. Now, we can't get that close, of course. This is live wire. Been told by officials here that it's going to be a couple hours before we see this cleaned up here. But we did also have a chance to speak to someone, a neighbor that's nearby that had a tree fall down. She was at the store when this storm came through, and it was only about 5 minutes, she said, that it felt like as it passed. So she thought, wasn't that bad. She comes home, there's a bunch of trees down. Luckily not on her home, fell down on the road, but it was kind of just a very quick hitting situation. here in Lawrenceburg and in many other places. But right now, yeah, just looking at the damage right now as we have that rain continuing to fall. Fortunately, not getting really a full front of that second round that's coming through. Like areas to the south of us, of course, are getting hit a little bit harder. But live here in Anderson County, I'm Ben Beddoes, WKYT.
All right, thank you, Ben. Great job. Stay safe out there above all else. Here's where Ben is, and you saw him had the hood back on because the rain is moving in. Thankfully, nothing severe with this moving into the Lawrenceburg area, but all that's going to do is slow down the recovery or the cleanup efforts into this part of the world because, yeah, not only are we dealing with some rain, but we got a little bit of lightning showing up embedded within this as well. So let's take this through the Lexington Metro to show how things have kind of calmed down here locally. Severe weather into our east, threat of severe weather just to our west and southwest as of right now. Mountain Parkway is right here, and meteorologist Alexa Minton joins us now. And Alexa, you have been tracking some periodic damage from time to time up and down the Mountain Parkway as this storm, the severe line, rolled its way through Clark County into Powell County and Wolfe County.
Yeah, certainly. We definitely have been seeing lots of varying degrees of damage. We've seen split trees in parts of Clark County, but then we've gone as small as just debris littering parts of the roadways. But we just drove through parts of the Red River Gorge area because, holiday weekend, a lot of people were planning on spending some time camping, maybe enjoying the gorge, enjoying Natural Bridge State Park. You can see there's quite a few cars getting ready to head back out of the area. I mean, we took a minute to turn out of the area because a lot of people are leaving. Already quite a bit of rainfall for that area and some tree branches down across parts of that region. And they're realizing that, hey, there's another round that's going to be coming a little later today. So people are getting out before that second round starts to hit. But definitely not necessarily the Memorial Day or the holiday weekend I think a lot of people were planning for when they headed out to the area to camp. But we're tracking things up and down the Mountain Parkway. We're now currently headed back towards the Lexington metro area to start to track some of the damage from some of those stronger wind gusts. And things are calming down for the moment, but I know Chris and Jim have been saying that this is just the first round of many that we're going to be seeing throughout parts of the evening. But I'll check back in with you guys here in a little bit. For now, on the Mountain Parkway, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton. Chris?
Stay safe and route back to Central Kentucky. And obviously, once you get back here, we've got some additional scenes of damage that you're probably going to be showing us. Severe weather into eastern Kentucky. Jim, let's take this radar. Let's go to London. Let's go to Laurel County. And we're going to show how we're in the wake of this severe weather down here with a lot of heavy rain. Now, I was commenting earlier on the amount of lightning out of Pulaski County into Laurel County, and you can see that going through there. I mean, just a tremendous amount of lightning. Look at what is going on down here into London right now. We just got this, we got these pictures from our X or Twitter. This is what looks like a fire breaking out here caused by lightning potentially. And this is coming out of the London area. You can see on the multiple pictures quite a bit of smoke and fire coming out of this establishment. What was the name of the business, Jim?
Huffman & Huffman. It's an ophthalmology clinic.
Okay,
that's what that is.
Yep,
right
you
there.
can see it on the side of the side of the building there. And again, that could be lines down that may have sparked this. Could be lightning, fire, but you see the multiple fire trucks that are out there. This is into London, downtown London in Laurel County, coming on the heels of those severe storms that just blasted through that part of the state a little bit ago. So again, for the folks into the dealing with this line, Jim, it's not just the damaging winds, it's the lightning too that can cause some issues.
You're talking a lot of strikes that went through there just a little while ago, so that certainly can cause exactly what you saw right there.
And if we go back to this, let's hit the now, and we can just look at how many lightning strikes are coming from this line just itself right now within the past 15 minutes. 622 cloud to ground strikes, which is down from a little bit ago.
Right, because there were a lot more not so long ago.
Yeah, and that's just in the past 15 minutes, Jim, what we're dealing with there.
And seeing a little update on that warning for the folks there in Hazard, just a little, they're just whittling some off of it off the back. If you're noticing something kind of flashing on your screen there, I'll zoom in on some of these so we can see them a little bit better and talk more about them. But right now, City of Hazard, it is rocking and rolling. It's go time right now for you. The same thing in the city of Harlan down there in Kaywood as well. and then to Viper and Vico and Hyden. Hindman, it is coming your way with a severe thunderstorm warning, and these winds can be tough. They've already been and shown indications of just how tough they can be, and that's headed right for you folks there as well, heading along Kentucky Highway 80 in Jackson. It's also loaded up right on top of you. Salyersville, it's not there yet. Those winds of change have started to blow, and now that severe thunderstorm is making its way down the Mountain Parkway, and it's going to run right into you. Same thing in West Liberty, and then all the way up to the folks getting into Carter County, Chris.
Big weekend at our state parks, Jim. Obviously, Memorial Day weekend. Take a look at this picture we just got out of is this Cumberland Falls State Park? Okay, Cumberland Falls State Park. Hopefully nobody was in this car when this tree came crashing down. But oh goodness, yeah, that was on the road. So chances are, that somebody was driving this, obviously, as this tree fell over the road and crushed the car. Let's check and make sure nobody was injured in this. Let's make sure that everybody got out safely in that one, Jim.
Somebody's standing there, but you don't know if that's a driver or somebody that got somebody out.
Right. And I would think so that everybody is out of that. If somebody's giving us pictures like that and up close of the car, you would think everybody got out okay. You would like to think so, and don't see any emergency crews on scene there. But this, busy weekend, and especially down at Cumberland Falls. I mean, that's a popular place, Jim, any time of the year, and especially Memorial Day weekend.
This is when a lot of people, they like to get the boats out for the first time. We say it all the time. It's one of those cliches at this time. It's the unofficial start to summer. Well, it is. This is when a lot of vacations start and people start rolling along here. And unfortunately, it came with a really intense round of thunderstorms moving through the area, and we're not finished yet. It's starting to rain on the west end of Lexington right now, Chris, so here we go again. And what we'll probably notice, too, is those winds are going to pick up just a little bit. They're not as intense as some of them on the southern side of that second line, but they're still out there in a big way. It'll be noticeable again here in just a few minutes. It hasn't started raining at Keeneland yet. I'm watching the cam here, but it won't be long now, and then we'll get right back into the hunt for that as we move through the rest of the afternoon here, because it's just now closing in on 3 o'clock, going into about to get over into the evening here in the next little bit, the next few hours.
Yeah, and watching this, not only the next line coming in, but the line behind that is yet to even develop, but is going to quickly pop into western Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana in mid to late evening, Jim. We're going to have to deal with that into central and eastern Kentucky again, and some of that's going to take us into the overnight across southern and eastern Kentucky. Exactly,
and that's the one that gets into the wee hours. It looks like maybe past midnight for the arrival time on that. So that's we said waves of severe thunderstorms. And this is just the first one. We're getting a good strong round right now. The second one, it doesn't have any warnings painted on it, but let me tell you, it's still pretty intense with those winds. I've been watching some of the data come in, at least estimates that they could go up to 50 miles per hour.
Let's go back to our power outage map so we can look at some of the latest numbers. And as western Kentucky, the electric slowly starting to come back on. So the numbers are down just a little bit to 206,000, which is still just an absurd number. But into eastern Kentucky, look at the leading edge of that, Menifee County, where you've got a substantial outage there around Frenchburg into Menifee County and back into Powell County. But Menifee County, the little county in red, right there at the leading edge of all the different colors you're getting, is where you've got a significant outage that is currently in progress into the Frenchburg area, and then all the real estate behind that with significant outages as well. You notice, Jim, Fayette County, Jessamine County, the outages nowhere near as stout as our neighbors all around us.
Right, we didn't get a heavy dose. I mean, we got some pretty strong winds,
we did, yeah.
but for whatever reason, our situation is a little better.
Yeah, and you may have more buried lines in these areas too, in these two counties. But yeah, it's interesting to note the leading edge of that into Menifee County. That's a lot of people. I believe they're with that outage. They track 3,300 customers, 2,200 are without power now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's a lot of people. There you go. And we'll see those numbers climbing into eastern Kentucky as well when those winds, Jim, hit more where you've got more trees, you've got more lines that go through wooded areas. So you get more power outages typically in the mountains where you've got more rural areas. So back to your first alert radar network. Let's get rid of this initial line. But that second line is ramping up just a little more into the bluegrass region and points south and southwest as it makes its way on through. And we're gonna watch Indianapolis, Bloomington, back towards St. Louis for more severe thunderstorms to develop a little later on today. And that's going to be the next line that kind of zips its way on through the area. And you can see that future radar. Listen, it's not going to nail the exact movement and timing of these thunderstorms, but look what happens between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Look at those supercell thunderstorms going up from E-Town, Evansville, Owensboro, southern parts of Indiana. By 8 o'clock, here we go again with those storms that are dropping in from northwest to southeast. And not only will that bring another damaging wind threat, a local tornado threat, and also a local flash flood threat as well to the region where southern Kentucky, Pulaski County, we've picked up almost 1.5 inches of rain now on the day in some areas. So you picked up 3 to 4 or 5 inches of rain this week. Got to watch those creeks and streams with each round of thunderstorms that work across the area. But to see that line still holding together like that with the warnings that are going all the way from southern Ohio down into almost the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee. That's impressive.
Oh, that's a lot of coverage, and it keeps zipping through there. And you know what I find really even more disturbing is the fact that the second line is still holding together itself, and it's going into this is what we always talk about. Sometimes you get the atmosphere worked over, and we know that the atmosphere's been worked, but it's still holding together. Mm-hmm. It might not be producing those severe thunderstorms, but you've got some very strong winds associated with that, and they're driving in right now. Danville getting hit again, Lawrenceburg getting in on some of that in the last little bit, and it's coming deeper into Campbellsville and Liberty and beyond. Big old warning now included in Nashville, Tennessee for a severe thunderstorm on the southern side of that. But that you could see there, it is a lot more intense on that side. But Nashville proper now included in a severe thunderstorm warning. So maybe somebody took off and went down there this weekend. I don't know, Chris. Yeah. But maybe you've got family or friends that have traveled that way. Give them a quick call or text.
Yeah, and you're noticing the southern edge of that line is going to head toward Lake Cumberland coming up in just a little bit. So again, if you know some folks who are out on Lake Cumberland, they waited until that initial line of severe weather was through there and they thought they were in the clear. Text them, call them, say, no, you guys, you're not going to be in the clear the rest of the day. You got another line coming through and then more thunderstorms a little later on this afternoon. Jim, obviously, we had reported that fatality into Jefferson County from earlier, and we've got severe weather all across the Bluegrass State. Governor Andy Beshear has posted a video commenting on today's severe weather. Let's hear from the governor.
Hey everybody, it's Andy. We are still going through a significant weather event that is going to have another round of dangerous storms coming through tonight to late tonight, depending on where you are in the state. Thus far, it looks like we've got about 213,000 homes without power. We have at least 5 counties that have declared an emergency, and it looks like we have 1 fatality, that we haven't heard of any other injuries outside of that. Make sure you stay safe. We have a lot of roads that are blocked by trees, some roads that are flooded out. Don't drive through a flooded road. Also, power lines are down in many parts of Kentucky. Do not go near them. Now, we have gotten through at least the first part of this event, and we want to make sure we don't lose anybody else. Everybody out there, stay safe. Be very weather aware as we go into tonight and late tonight. Thanks.
All right, there you hear from Governor Beshear, an update on where we stand across Kentucky. Greater than 200,000 customers are still without power as of right now, Jim, and into the Bluegrass area. A little cell trying to flare back up around Nicholasville, but the overall scene setter showing the second round of thunderstorms targeting southern Kentucky. And you know what? Those can easily go severe yet again. And the Big Sandy Valley, eastern Kentucky, goodness gracious, look at the storms that are just continuing to press through there with damaging winds. We're just a little lull in between.
That's what's happened there. Just a little bit of that right now, but they're racing in here, one right after the other.
Yeah, and as soon as we get rid of this line, that this initial line, and we don't have any other warnings. Hey, we'll get you to programming. We know it's a holiday. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm not even sure, Jim, what we're supposed to be airing right now. Our job is to keep folks safe, and that's all we are concerned with. And what we're dealing with, though, is the lines of strong and severe thunderstorms that are making their way throughout the region right now. So let us show you the current warnings that are out across the entire region. We just take the radar off there. So you got severe thunderstorm warnings in the yellow. This is for everybody, and I mean everybody, east of a line from Vanceburg to Moorhead to the Campton area to Buckhorn, and then on into Bell County and points east from there. And then we got flash flood warnings to the west, severe thunderstorm warnings around Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to watch this area for the possibility of a couple more warnings to come out with this next line. Tornado watch until 4 for the counties that are in red. I think we get another tornado watch issued, by the way, later today, late afternoon into the evening for much of the state. Severe thunderstorm watch into northern and eastern parts of the Bluegrass State. So here is your first alert radar network with this line of severe weather. This is the troublemaker, and you know, we're going to see if this can be declared as a derecho, because this thing has produced almost continuous wind damage now from Missouri all the way across the entire state of Kentucky. Almost the entire state. This still has to get through US 23 corridor, which is far east, is just about you can get from Ashland down to Pikeville, and then that line is over into West Virginia and parts of southwestern Virginia. And then watching the second line that is bringing heavy rain, thunder and lightning. The lightning is beginning to increase just a little bit, and we're starting to see that increase here into central Kentucky as well. Danville, especially into Casey County and south, watching the threat for some quick rises on creeks and streams. So a lot of folks are going to be out trying to clean up right now. Don't do that. Wait until we get this next line through there. We see if we catch a break after that, for at least a small break. But there's just way too much lightning coming in with these cells for folks to be out trying to do any cleanup. Let's go to Cynthiana into Harrison County, where we had this massive tree that was uprooted. And we've had a lot of these pictures coming from various points of central and eastern Kentucky. And you can see that was no small tree or root system that the winds took care of here into Harrison County just a little bit ago, when those storms raced their way across the area, packing sustained gusts, or I should say gusts, not sustained, but gusts of greater than 60 to 70 miles per hour. Folks, this is why we gave you a first alert weather day, 6-day notice about today's weather. So on Monday, Tuesday, we put out a first alert weather day for this Sunday to call your attention to an outbreak of severe weather that Mother Nature is throwing at us right now. All right, let's go back to our radar picture. We'll track this line into eastern Kentucky as it makes its way. So the next stop on the damaging wind tour would be Greenup, Grayson, Ashland. It's through Sandy Hook, so Louisa, the Lomansville area, Paintsville, Prestonsburg, Salyersville, it's right on top of us. Over toward Pikeville, Hindman, Jackson, it's through us as well. That continues, it's now through Hazard. Whitesburg would be next, and eventually that'll clear all of Pike County coming up here shortly. Got a bit of a break behind this with still a lot of lightning strikes and heavy rain. And then we get right back into the thick of strong thunderstorms that are heading toward Lake Cumberland. So it is a no lake day on Cumberland right now, or any of the lakes across our part of the world, because here we go again with a lot of booming thunderstorms making their way through. Torrential rains, could be some small hail with these in 40-mile-per-hour winds. Burnside Marina, one of the popular places on Lake Cumberland. Well, this isn't at the marina itself, but this is the Burnside area, and there you see exactly what we are dealing with into parts of Pulaski County, southern sections of Pulaski County, very close to the lake. Now we go farther to the north on your radar tour, getting into Danville, Stanford, Lancaster, Nicholasville, Lexington. Heavy rain, maybe a little noisy, but none of what is out there moving into central Kentucky is considered to be severe for the moment. So at least some welcome news with that. But you know, you look at that second line, Jim, and it's starting to bow just a little bit.
Yeah, it's got some signatures of stronger winds with it. I mean, it does. So again, it's mesmerizing to see. That and the fact that it doesn't have a lot of lightning compared to what we had to go through here a little bit earlier, where it still has some of those strong winds associated with it. But he mentioned Lake Cumberland. Here it goes again. And I worry so much about that area. We already saw the picture from around Lake Cumberland with the tree that fell on the Lincoln that just destroyed it. I mean, while someone was driving down the road. But that's a really, really forested area, heavily forested area when you get out on those lake roads around there. And you're talking old trees, you know, you're not allowed to touch that stuff. I mean, it's that kind of situation down there. So that's getting ready to blow through again with some very strong winds and more heavy rain. You go up to Liberty, you go up to Stanford. This second line continues. Nicholasville here in Lexington. As well.
Yep.
And
pretty good rain right now on the Keeneland cam especially. And Jim, if you look at our tower cam, look at that, we almost got a little shelf cloud again.
I'm coming to it right now, sir. Here it is. Yeah,
look at this. Little baby shelfie.
Yeah, it's not as mothership
right,
as the others.
Right. Not the mothership. This would be more of the ant ship, right?
Yeah, that's more of what it is. I'm going to show you that we've got another cam that we're going to go to right now from the city of Lexington, and this is out on Nicholasville Road near the mall. And look at that rain! Look at that visibility.
Yeah.
You know, it's Sunday, and it's
that's a lot of traffic though for a Sunday, right?
I know. That's
Goodness
what I'm
gracious,
thinking. It's
folks.
Sunday. That tells you all about Nicholasville Road every day of the week. I'm going to go to that Keeneland cam. I'm going to pop it up here in just a second so you can see the other side of town and what's happening with that first little push of rain making its way into that area. There it is. That's that next wave starting to blow through. Huh. You know, Chris?
What's that?
You know, I'm looking at this camera, and I'm going to have to walk over here to show.
All right, what you got? Jump out there.
So look at this. When we were doing stuff earlier, there were 3 trees over here. There were 3 trees.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
When we first went to this cam, when that first wave went through, I was watching 3 trees to see how much they moved.
So I think that is a tree on the ground, right?
It very well could be over there. Yeah, is that what that is?
I think
right
that
there?
is right there.
Okay,
yeah.
I
think
mean
that's a tree on the ground.
Because I was watching that earlier. That was kind of my measuring stick to see what the wind looked like. So yeah, they've had maybe some issues out there on the grounds of Keeneland as well. So maybe they haven't noticed it yet or whatever, but yeah, that's just an observation.
Yeah, good. Look at Eagle Eye over here.
Well, it was my measuring stick earlier.
I like it.
I was watching that for wind.
And our tower cam again, that little shelf cloud is still looking pretty good as it is showing up right on top of Lexington. I can imagine what it's looking like farther to the south down here into the Lake Cumberland area, where not considered to be severe, but torrential rain, a lot of lightning. Here's that line of up to hurricane force winds, and now every piece of real estate left into eastern Kentucky is effectively under a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of this line. Strong thunderstorms, can't call them severe because we don't have warnings technically for those, but it wouldn't take much here along the Kentucky-Tennessee border to see a few more wind damage reports coming in, especially from Pulaski County, Russell County, and points south from there. And we're going to watch this area back here as we get through 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight for more thunderstorms that will fire up and make their way on in from northwest to southeast. So the damage reports are fairly extensive and widespread. Lots of wind damage throughout central Kentucky. Now getting those wind damage reports coming out of eastern Kentucky as well. So yeah, this has been one of those days, Jim, and when you get a line like this to make its way through the region, this is what happens. You get widespread wind damage. That was in our forecast for almost 6 days now. This is one of those events you hope you're wrong, because that means you don't have damage from people.
But here we are.
Here we are. All right, we're going to Georgetown now, and Jessica Umbro, is that who we got joining us now? Jessica, what have you got showing up out of Scott County? Because we've been getting a lot of damage pictures coming out of where you are.
Well, we're seeing the rain. Yeah, we're seeing a bit of damage. The rain has picked up in the past 10 to 15 minutes or so. We were driving along. We're on the 100 block of Chopin Way in Georgetown, Chopin Way, excuse me. I'm just going to step out of the shot so you can see a little bit of what we're seeing. It appears to be a large part of a tree limb has fallen down onto a car. We haven't spoken to any neighbors about what exactly we are seeing or when exactly this happened, but it seems to have gotten quite a bit of the car. It's just some of the damage that we're seeing out of Georgetown. We're going to keep driving around and see what that damage looks like. But kind of like I said, the rain is picking up. It's coming in at a little bit of an angle, which definitely makes it difficult to stay dry. It's making it a little bit more dangerous on the roads, especially if you're trying to make a quick turn or if you're on the highways. So definitely take caution if you're in Scott County or in the Georgetown area. This is just a little bit of the damage that we're seeing, but we're going to keep driving around and see what else is going on out there before this second wave that you've all been talking about hits a little bit later today. For now, live in Georgetown, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Stay safe up there into Scott County. Obviously, we're finding damage video, damage pictures coming from the entire area. Just about every county, I think, in central and eastern Kentucky that we cover, Jim, and that's what, roughly 40 plus counties. We're seeing damage pictures coming from those.
It's trickling in right now, yeah, and it's going to continue.
And we were looking at this, what is likely a lightning strike fire out of Laurel County. We had a little video sent to us from down there into London. And if we can get that up, take a look at that. So, Jim, that's what's going on. Our buddy Johnny Nicholson down there.
Weather Watcher.
Yeah, Weather Watcher sends us a lot of stuff, and that's what Johnny just sent to us. Take a look at that, and that is a large fire started by lightning. What was the name of the?
Huffman and Huffman.
Huffman and Huffman. Okay, there you go. And that's what happens when you get a lightning strike. Lightning, we talk about this with kiddos when we go do school visits. Lightning is hotter than the sun. So you take a lightning strike like that, and it doesn't matter how grounded things may be. If it hits the right spot, Jim, it's going to cause a fire, and that's what you're seeing right there into downtown London.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these reports coming in now from out at Taylor County. You know, one of our fringe counties down at the southern end.
Campbellsville.
Campbellsville, that's right. And they've got 2 significant residential houses damaged in that area. 8 reports of power lines down, roads blocked. 17 calls to the city, 4 county. It's all starting to pile up for them down there. That's just from a little bit earlier, and now they're getting hit again with these gusty thunderstorms blowing through there right now.
And Jim, that was the storm that hit Campbellsville is the one that also went into Boyle County, into Mercer County, and made its way on through central Kentucky.
That's the same one. So it had a history of it going all the way back to then as well. And right now, just seeing some more of that rain just loaded up and causing some issues for those folks out there. So as you said earlier, right now is not the time to clean. Right now is the time to, I know you want to try to protect yourself in whatever you've got left after some of this, but get somewhere safe and just kind of wait this out. Even though these aren't severe, just be in a safe location as this continues.
Yeah, we'll go back to my Twitter feed. I've just got some pictures out of Clinton County. Now, Jim, technically that is just outside of our coverage area, but it's close enough to Wayne County, close enough to Lake Cumberland. Take a look at this, what looks like a shed that was just completely, or a barn that was wiped away. And then you look downstream of that and look at that, what looks like, is that a cornfield maybe in the early stages, or just a field? I can't really tell, but you see everything that was kind of, yep, cornfield, but you see everything that was kind of strewn through there. And Jim, look at that. So that corn field that was off and running on a pretty good clip right here, with all this damage, you can see how the little bitty corn stalks are all kind of going in the same direction right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that crop now suffered damage very early in its life cycle. So that's a shame.
No, that's
a shame.
Terrible.
Hopefully they don't have to get out there and replant. Thankfully, it is still May where they could salvage that, I guess, if they have to replant. But yeah, that's out of Clinton County with that storm that also impacted Wayne County, Russell Springs, up into Somerset and Pulaski County as well. I see you got the look in your eye. What'd you find?
I do. Amy, I know you're up there and you're doing 15 things. I'm trying to do 15 things too. Go over to, this came through Facebook, so go over to my Facebook. I just shared a video from down at Lake Cumberland, and we can show that. So it's at the Conley Bottom Resort, and it shows you just how bad things were. This was posted about 2 hours ago, and the Lake Cumberland boaters little group there. And we'll be able to show that to you earlier. So this was then, and then you got another round going through now. All right,
let's see it.
Let's see it. So look there, Chris. Oh, watch that water come in.
Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah. So that was down there just a little while ago. 2 hours ago is when this was posted. So that was the scene there at the.
Which didn't say which? Oh, Conley Bottom.
Yeah,
okay.
At Conley Bottom.
Yeah, a very popular place. Obviously, Jim, I would imagine there are some folks who are probably trying to ride it out on some of those boats.
I'd say you're right.
On Memorial Day weekend, that's not what we need to be doing. And if we come back to our radar, let's go back to Lake Cumberland, Jim, because here we go again. No warnings are out for this, but we've got wild winds and heavy rain, thunder, lightning that are right back on top of Lake Cumberland. It's amping up just a little bit too as it makes its way on through Russell Springs, Jamestown. Here's Somerset. This is Lake Cumberland, very expansive area that goes back into Clinton County, Cumberland, and then Wayne County, Russell County, and up into Pulaski County. So that is what we have been dealing with.
See there, you can see the whole lake now.
Yeah, you can see the lake right here.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jim, it's a monster lake.
Yeah.
Lakes this time of year, this is the unofficial kickoff to summer. Boy, it's a rough kickoff to summer, isn't it? With the damaging winds of earlier, and now the strong thunderstorm that is making its way right back on top of the same area of Lake Cumberland.
And one of the places that we hear and see more and more reports of lightning strikes are folks out on lakes.
Yeah.
And it's because once lightning hits a lake, it passes through it pretty easily because water is an excellent conductor of electricity, so you can be hit, and that's always a big concern when you start talking about the loads of lightning. Then you throw in the wind. And also, boats get struck from time to time because they're often the highest point out there. In the middle of the lake, they kind of stand out. They're on top of the water, so lightning is looking for that route, Chris, to get to the ground, and sometimes that's through something tall like that off the water. So that's what we've got out there right now.
All right, Alexa Minton joining us again, just about back into Lexington, and to welcome her back into Lexington, heavy rain is showing up, and that's what she's not driving into. She's a passenger in the car, but they are driving into. And Alexa, you see you're right on the edge of this second system that is making its way on in. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, right now you can tell it almost happened instantaneously. We were calm, just enjoying, I guess, the little bit of that break that we had from those active line of thunderstorms. And then right now you can hear that rain coming down pretty strong. You can see from our look right now, can't see much out of our way. And I know that this line of storms isn't necessarily severe, but definitely one of those things where we've got the heavy rainfall really pretty consistently. And earlier in Fayette County, with that first round that came through, we already had some of those pooling waters on roadways issue, lots of hydroplaning issues. And as we're headed back on 64 into parts of that Fayette County, Lexington area, you can see that's going to be a pretty persistent issue throughout parts of our evening. Again, the visibility is definitely reduced, so if y'all don't have to be on the roadways right now, it's a good idea to pull off, wait out this second round that we're tracking right now, and make sure that everyone's staying safe. So definitely some pretty heavy rainfall as we're going into Fayette County. But I'll throw it back to you, Chris and Jim, as you guys keep tracking stuff.
All right, stay safe, Alexa. We'll get you back here safe and sound shortly and get you out to some other damaged scenes. But this is a video out of the Springfield area of Cumberland, and what we're dealing with this line of thunderstorms making its way back in. A lot of heavy rain and a lot of wind as well. You can see the leaves that are being blown off the trees. So yeah, not a good day around Cumberland or anywhere across the area. So that's just a taste of what some folks are dealing with in and around Cumberland, and you can see those winds are just whipping everything around, and yeah, likely some more damage pictures going to be coming in from the Lake Cumberland area and all across central and eastern Kentucky. That the culprit for the big wind maker, it's the southern edge of this is losing a little bit of steam right now. The lightning is decreasing, but there's a definite increase in lightning here coming out of Carter County into the Boyd County area, Greenup County as well. So some wind damage is likely with that. Heavy rain behind all this, and then that next round of some stronger thunderstorms is into central Kentucky. We're about to get rid of this out of eastern Kentucky. That's a good thing. Bad thing is you still got more heavy rain and thunderstorms coming through, and then another severe weather threat during the evening with another line dropping in from northwest to southeast. But that line, Jim, around Lake Cumberland, that's intensifying again. So the northern edge of this, not so much. But boy, all of a sudden now we're seeing this line of thunderstorms kind of rejuvenated in and around Somerset, Russell Springs, Jamestown, toward Clinton, Cumberland, and Wayne counties with a threat for severe weather. If we have our power map, our current power outage map, I want to show that again because this is updated. So we're jumping back up now, almost 211,000 customers without power. And notice all the colors that are getting into eastern and southeastern Kentucky. So some pretty good outages into Perry County and into Leslie County as of right now. Perry County, you're talking about it's a little more than 1,500, and then across Leslie County, quite a few outages, about 1,300 as well. So 211,000 customers, not people. These are just customers. We're tracking homes and businesses, and all of those customers without power now across Kentucky. That is our most expansive power outage map that we have shown you guys since back in the big windstorm of March 3rd of last year. And then before that, you got to go back to the ice storms of 2021. Yeah, right. 2021, 2022. Get them all confused now. The ice storms.
Together.
Yeah, that February. But my goodness, it has been a turbulent decade for weather here across the Bluegrass State. That much is for sure. So heavy rain into central Kentucky, Jim, and that low severe threat continues around parts of Lake Cumberland, and we're just about to wind this thing down with those storms getting out of our immediate coverage area.
Amy, go over to my Facebook again. I just shared another post that shows some damage, but there's more to it than that. So whenever you see it, it's the one that was posted. It's the Bee Creek one. That's right. Yeah, the Bee Creek one. I just shared a second ago. And all right, look at that right there. So while you may think, okay, that just looks like just a bunch of stuff out there, what that is apparently it is a storage unit facility. So people that have that's close to a Dollar General down there on Bee Creek in Corbin. There you see it. Your stuff, it's everywhere. So while people probably weren't injured, some stuff that they had locked up there is certainly out there in the middle of the rain and experiencing some of that. So that probably from that, possible tornado earlier, Chris, it went through there a little earlier. So one of many sights that we're going to see revealed here in the coming hours. But back to our First Alert Radar Network, those showers and storms. They are still flying through our skies. You get out into eastern Kentucky, deep into eastern Kentucky, severe thunderstorms lining up from Ashland all the way back down into Cumberland, the city of Cumberland there in Harlan County. But while the warnings continue, Chris, they will be gone soon as far as active warned storms.
Thankfully.
But there will still be some pretty active, stronger storms that are moving through the area.
And then the next round comes in as the evening wears on. So quick update on Madison County trees down Old Kentucky Road 52, that's Irvin Road, 300 block of Concord Road, 100 block of Waco Loop, College Hill and Oakley Wells, Congleton Lane, Pioneer and Colonel Road, 300 block Lancaster Road, 300 block of Concord Road. So we got a few there in Madison County, I think is what we're understanding with that. And if we go back, a couple of pictures out of the Winchester Country Club we just tweeted. Take a look at this. Take a look at the damage out of the Winchester Country Club over here in Winchester. Jim, you're familiar with this area of the state. But we all are. But I mean, you're a Clark County resident.
I live there, yeah.
Yeah. So we're seeing some pretty good damage there at the Country Club.
And where the Country Club is, it's in an older part of town, and it's one of those classic situations. Think of it like closer to downtown Lexington, where there are a lot of very old trees, very mature trees that are in the area, older homes, classic, beautiful homes that are right there. So that's in that area. So those. They've taken their beating through the years, trees like that. So that's what you're seeing there in Clark County, southern part of Winchester, right there.
So as we stand now, let's show folks the current warnings that we have out across Kentucky, because at least with this segment of what we're dealing with, we're about ready to wrap up this continuous coverage because things, at least for the moment, are calming down. Then we're going to ramp it back up later today into tonight. Severe thunderstorm warnings go from Greenup County, Boyd County, Carter, Lawrence, Johnson, Martin, Floyd, a small part of Magoffin, small part of Knott, and into Pike. That's it. Now that's getting over toward the West Virginia border and getting into western parts of West Virginia. Flood warnings are out into western Kentucky. Severe thunderstorm watch in the east. That'll likely be canceled, whittled away, because that initial line is out of here. Tornado watch until 4. I suspect this will be allowed to expire coming up at 4. And then we see a new watch that would replace this in a couple or 3 hours from now as more storms develop back here to the west and northwest. So your current radar picture with this line of severe thunderstorms across eastern Kentucky, stronger storms here across the Bluegrass area getting down toward Lake Cumberland, but nothing that is considered to be severe as of right now. We're going to continue to monitor everything. We're going to continue to watch the skies, because don't let your guard down. Don't try to get out there right now and remove any debris or anything like that, or do any cleanup, because with this line coming through there, it's got lightning with it. Last thing we want to have happen is somebody get hurt by being out there trying to clean up stuff because they thought the storm was over. You still got storms to go through. And then later this afternoon, we're going to see severe weather ramping up again. Evansville, Owensboro, Louisville, Bloomington, Indiana, back towards St. Louis, and that would roll its way on in with another widespread damaging wind threat and a tornado threat coming up later this evening. So we got crews all across central and eastern Kentucky as of now surveying the damage. We're going to slow down our continuous coverage right now, send you to programming, and don't even know what we got going on. And of course, we'll be breaking in periodically. If we get any more warnings, we'll be breaking in and letting you know first, just like we did earlier today. We appreciate you guys being with us. Stay safe. Keep it right here on WKYT, and we'll catch up again here in just a few minutes.
The biggest deals are at Lexington.